Alright guys, Corey Freeman here and welcome to this free webinar workshop where I'm going to be revealing the 7-step underground info product wealth loophole that generates $8,000 plus per month on complete autopilot in just 30 minutes per day without being an expert, as it hands you instant best-selling products, in many cases without writing a word, and a real 6-figure online business you could count on for the rest of your life. Corey Freeman here, aka Mr. Liberator, and I am absolutely excited to be revealing to you what I'm going to be revealing today. Now, I've been doing a lot of market research lately, and I've been surveying a lot of my customers within the internet marketing niche. And it seems like info marketing or creating your own products, finally getting up there with your own info product business, is really becoming a hot topic. And people are really realizing that if they ever want to hit the big leagues online and make that 6-figure income, and most importantly, build that big buyers customer list of people that will buy from you on command, whenever you want, to build that real solid asset. They realize that they need to start eventually creating their own information products. I have been an absolute obsessed student of all things info marketing literally for over 10 years, since I was 17, 18, and I first got into this whole internet marketing, direct marketing business. And what you're going to be discovering today, guys, is going to break through all the barriers and all the roadblocks that may have stopped you in the past from ever creating that first product, from ever creating that first sales funnel, from ever setting up shop, so to speak, as an info marketer and really creating an awesome, life-changing income for yourself. So without further ado, guys, I want to start this presentation right now. And again, you're going to be discovering the 7-step underground info product wealth loophole that generates $8,000 plus per month. That's extremely conservative, on complete autopilot in just 30 minutes per day without being an expert, as it hands you instant best-selling products, in many cases without writing a word, and a real 6-figure online business you could count on for the rest of your life. So let's get going here. Now real quick here, guys, you're going to want to make sure to watch this short presentation until the end, because I'm also going to reveal the secret shortcut that will hand you your very own $8,000 plus per month info product cash machine business in the next 30 days. Even if you're not an expert, as I said before, on anything, and have nothing to sell, while it forces your immense success in the process. Okay guys, real quick here, a little bit about me before we get going here. There's a picture of me real quick next to my lovely sister Jessie. And as I may have said before, I've been marketing online now for over 10 years. I've invested over $50,000 during this time learning from the brightest marketing, sales, and business masters the world over. And a lot of that was info marketing business education. I've done hundreds of thousands of dollars in product launches over the last 3.5 years alone, and I'm very well known in the WSO world, which is one of the best ways to get an absolute explosion of internet marketing related customers is by launching WSOs, and I've launched about 15 WSOs to date, probably bringing in around well over 15,000 customers. I make many thousands, actually more like tens of thousands now each month from my email list alone, and I've had the pleasure of coaching over 24 complete newbies to their first job-ending income streams online. Now, perhaps most importantly as it relates to this particular presentation, I am a serial 6-figure info marketer with hands-on experience selling anything from ebooks to multimedia courses to ultra-high ticket, $5,000 plus coaching programs across 12 different unique niche markets. If you Google me, you'll see a bunch of them, no doubt. In fact, I'm going to be revealing several of these life-changing yet quick to produce info product cash machines live in excruciating detail right here in this webinar. So make sure to stay with me until the end. Okay guys, well in just a moment we're going to get right into my 7-step underground info product wealth loophole that generates $8,000 plus per month on complete autopilot in just 30 minutes per day without being an expert, as it hands you instant best-selling products without writing a word in many cases, and a real six-figure online business you can count on for the rest of your life. And that's a point I want to bring up here real quick, guys. There's so many people, especially the newer people getting into internet marketing, they're all focused in the wrong directions, and it's not really their fault, because all the different gurus, quote unquote, want to sell them bright, shiny objects, and it takes their focus away from ever learning the big picture, the fundamentals of building a real solid online business, and that's what I'm all about. I want to show you how to build a real stable six-figure online business with a constant stream of traffic and customers and an ever-growing email list of customers and leads. So you're going to build an asset for yourself, and if you ever need to make a quick $10, $20, $30,000, guess what? You find some value to offer, you create a new product, or you find something to offer as an affiliate, and you do a little campaign to your email list, and voila, you just created $20,000, $30,000. That's a real business, guys, with a customer base that loves you, okay? Building a list, etc. And I just want to really emphasize that real six-figure online business thing that isn't dependent on any one traffic source or any Google exploit or loophole or whatnot, okay? This is about building a real online business, okay? Okay, guys, so obviously, before we get started here, guys, I really want to show you some proof that I walk the walk, because obviously it's extremely important that you only learn and listen to people that are doing and have the end result that you so deeply desire. Alright, guys, well, I hope you found that very inspiring, and obviously you know now beyond a shadow of the doubt that I really know my stuff when it comes to making an absolute fortune with info marketing. Now, real quick here, guys, I want to talk about something that's very important to talk about, because it's important that you know that even though now I could pretty much enter any niche at will and rapidly create an amazing income stream with info products, it really wasn't always that way. In fact, I suffered, I actually have like a really bad case of OCD, to be totally honest with you guys, and it took me forever to even be able to take action and be able to do something, create that first product, create that first sales letter. Part of that was this whole expert kind of issue of not thinking I was an expert and other kind of mental blocks that were holding me back. But I want to talk about my story of struggle, because you're probably going to be able to relate to it, and it's going to make more sense why maybe you are dealing with the things that you're dealing with, and maybe why you've experienced some of the pains, frustrations, and roadblocks that you've been experiencing, okay? So get ready to listen closely here, because I'm about to piss off a lot of gurus, go against the grain, and hand you the golden keys to effortless info product income for the rest of your life. Just a few short years ago, I was the most frustrated wannabe info marketer in the world. Sure, I kept hearing all these amazing things about the info biz and the dream hands-free lifestyle it could provide. But when it came time to finding and entering a hungry market and creating my own hot-selling info product, creating a hot product alone seemed like a daunting task, not to mention selling it. I still remember those agonizing days. I had all the desire in the world to be a successful information marketer, and I was willing to do whatever it would take to set up my first successful venture. I bought course upon course on product creation. I spent thousands on different traffic generation techniques, and I kept falling for the latest magic pill money-making system that promised it would be the solution to all my problems. It was an endless cycle of mind-numbing, wallet-draining misery. But I promised myself I'd never give up. Heck, I'd come way too far by now, spent way too much money, and learnt far too much. I had to figure this thing out, so I could finally free myself from my life-sucking day job and start living my life on my own terms. My everyday life had become a veritable hell at this point, trudging through dozens upon dozens of ebooks, home study programs, and even several extremely expensive coaching programs that I definitely could not afford at the time. Sure, again, I was learning all sorts of solid internet marketing information, but no matter what I did, I never seemed to get that last piece of the puzzle. I just couldn't find a niche where I felt I had enough credibility and expertise to produce a unique, hot-selling product. The most infuriating part? I had actually mastered the entire info marketing process, but I just couldn't take that first step. I mean, I bought everything. I bought all these different products on creating products, how to target a good market, how to even set up some kind of a survey to find out what people want to buy. All these different ways that drive traffic. I learned about the concept of having a front end product and the back end and having a sales funnel and building a list and et cetera, et cetera. And I really mastered, at least in my head, I thought I mastered that whole process of building an info product business, but I just couldn't take that first step. And after several more years of being stuck on this learning and overanalyzation treadmill, things got so bad that I eventually forced myself to do something, anything that could get me on a more positive track. And after thinking back over all the expensive courses and coaching I had bought, and all the supposed can't-fail advice I so desperately wanted to believe, not to mention the proven action steps I somehow just wasn't able to get myself to take, I finally came to an enraging realization. Every single info marketing guru that I ever bought from was either full of shit or they were leaving out a key, crucial, foundational piece of the puzzle. You see, I had finally discovered the two biggest info marketing scams that have smashed the hopes of thousands of aspiring info marketers. And let's get right to it here. Scam number one. It sounds something like this. Just pick a niche where you have a passion about something and know how to do something better than the average Joe and build an info business around that. This is the most damaging concept ever to be forced upon aspiring info marketers. And let me break it down to you real easy here, guys. There are a lot of people that a lot of gurus supposedly have stepped into the info marketing realm, and they kind of are faced with a big issue. I mean, they want to sell info marketing. They want to sell the dream of having an info product business and basically making all this money on complete autopilot, largely with downloadable products and whatnot. It's a great, sexy thing to sell, okay? But they run into a problem, and that is the average person, in most cases, if they're following conventional ways of getting into info marketing, they don't have what I call are the ingredients of success to enter this business. They don't really have a certain expertise, right? They haven't already gotten the end result that a hungry market is desperate to achieve. That gives them a right, so to speak, to enter a niche, right? So they oftentimes will go to this thing where it's like, oh, well, I'm sure you know something of value. There's got to be something that you know something more about than the average Joe. Or, what are you passionate about? Just follow your passion and the money will follow. Guys, what a load of BS. Let me bring up a really ridiculous example. Just because Dorothy likes to pick daffodils in Kansas and she knows the top spots to find these special daffodils to pick in Kansas doesn't mean that there's a hungry, starving market who's going to plunk down hundreds of dollars to learn that special information. Do you know what I'm saying there, guys? So the truth of the matter is, just because you're passionate about something, just because you like something, just because you know how to fix some kind of hardware or maintenance problem in your kitchen better than the average Joe or Jane, you can't just create a business on that, guys. So that's one of the most damaging lies that has ever been perpetuated, and I'm here to put a squash to it. And this brings me to scam number two, guys, and that's that there are tons of courses and gurus providing well thought out info marketing success plans, okay, that make enough sense on surface level. But they all fail to mention one thing that is absolutely, positively critical to your success. It's so critical to your success that they're leaving it out, to me, is downright criminal. And that's that unless you are a highly experienced info marketer with a black belt level copywriting and sales psychology ability, entering any worthwhile info niche without any expertise in the topic, market affinity, which is another word for saying understanding what's going on in your prospects' heads, what's it like to be in their shoes, etc. Most importantly, solid proof that you've already achieved the end result that the people in the niche are hungry after themselves, is, for 99% of all aspiring info marketers, next to impossible. And don't worry, because, this is if you follow conventional ways of getting into info marketing, guys. But don't worry, because in a little bit, I'm going to show you, the biggest secret to this all that makes this all irrelevant and literally bust through any barrier you could possibly have, including not being an expert or not having any proof, etc. But I want you to think about it real quick here, guys. If you're looking to make money online, and obviously you probably are since you're listening to this, do you want to buy a YouTube traffic course from somebody, and particularly, do you want to spend good money, big money, on a YouTube traffic course if you don't have solid evidence that the person you're buying from, the guru, so to speak, has already accomplished that end result and has gotten thousands and thousands of visitors per day, by implementing his rinse and repeat process? Let's talk about another example. Let's talk about the Forex trading niche, right? If you're interested in learning how to trade the Forex and make a killing, do you want to buy a Forex trading course from a guy who doesn't have income shots, that he's made hundreds of thousands of dollars at least with his Forex trading system? It just makes common sense, But that is unless you know the secret formulas that make all that stuff irrelevant. And I want to say something real quick here, guys. Listen, if you legitimately have a core expertise and you have awesome proof that you've attained a certain end result, by all means, you got a head start. You're ahead of everybody else, okay? But what I'm trying to do here is bridge the gap to people that desperately want to set up their own info product businesses, but they just don't have those ingredients of success that they think they need as far as like an expertise with a niche that is already hungry and is already buying stuff online, and the income proof and all those roadblocks, right, that so many people feel like they have. All those things can be roadblocks unless you know the secret formulas that make all that stuff irrelevant. And congratulations, guys, because you're about to discover those secret formulas right now in this webinar presentation. So guys, the moment you've been waiting for. We're now going to go over the 9-step underground info product wealth loophole that generates $8,000 plus per month on complete autopilot in just 30 minutes per day without being an expert. Now remember how I promised you real live walkthroughs of actual info product cash machines I built for myself? Well, get ready to be blown away. Because instead of just telling you these 9 info product cash machine action steps, I'm now going to demonstrate each of them for you live by showing you 3 different info product cash machine businesses I've set up from scratch in 3 very different niche markets that I knew nothing about before getting into them. And don't forget, at the end of this presentation, I'm also going to be showing you the ultimate info business shortcut that will hand you your very own $8,000 plus per month info product cash machine business in the next 30 days. Even if you're not an expert on anything and have nothing to sell, while it literally forces your immense success in the process. So grab a beverage of choice, make yourself comfortable, and let's dive in. Alright guys, info product cash machine step number 1. Find and pick your target market based on my 4-step battle-tested info product cash machine niche picking litmus test. Now guys, whenever I get into markets these days, especially information markets, there's a 4-step litmus test, so to speak, that I want to run all my potential markets through before even thinking about getting into them. And it's very important that you do these things from the start, because you don't want to spend the time and the energy going into a potential information product market without knowing beforehand that as long as you execute the formula that you're learning today, that it will be successful, it will be profitable, okay? So it all starts with this. Litmus test number 1. Is the niche market either extremely passionate or starving for a certain topic area, or are they at least absolutely desperate for a solution to a problem that they are experiencing? Now, when you break it down, guys, when it comes to information products, what do people spend money on information like for? What kinds of information do they spend money on? And if you actually look at it, people only spend money on information if it's either going to solve a desperate, pressing problem that's keeping them from sleeping at night, or if it's going to help them attain a highly desirous goal, right? And the only other angle on that is if they're extremely passionate about something, either a certain topic or skill set or area of knowledge that they're absolutely passionate about. Um, those are the only kind of things that people will spend money on for information. And think about it. Think of some of the niches, some of the products you might have bought in the past. You probably bought stuff on making money on the internet. Well, that's a life-changing thing, right? Maybe you bought something on losing weight. Maybe I know there's products that are all about getting six-pack abs, right? There's even products that solve desperate solutions, such as how to make sure you make the right decisions for the care of your aging parents, right, or an Alzheimer, possibly somebody with Alzheimer's, right? There's lots of products on health remedies, how to get rid of acne, how to get rid of bad breath. Those are like, and I actually love, especially for newbies. Excuse me, there's a little playing in the background there. Especially for people that are first putting up their first few ventures, I absolutely love the desperate kind of topics because it's one of the easiest formulas to implement, and as long as you can kind of show people that you know what it's like to be in their situation, and that and that you stumbled upon some kind of a method or a technique or a remedy or something, it's very easy to get people that have desperate kind of health kind of issues to want to try out your solution. And it's one of the two or three different ways I advise my clients to go. In any case, is the niche market either extremely passionate / starving for a certain topic area, or are they absolutely desperate for a solution to a problem they are experiencing? Litmus test number 2: are the people in this market, your target customers, are they actually actively searching for information and solutions, and are they easily reachable online? Now, one of the core traffic methods that I teach all my high-end clients is creating their own YouTube channel for whatever niche they might be in. And you don't need to worry, even if this isn't even if the market you end up picking for your first info biz, even if it isn't an extreme passion of yours, it's not difficult. There's no reason why you can't put up a YouTube channel and just come off as an expert and create a video every day or every couple days, and very quickly have a multiple hundred, if not 1,000 plus clicks a day stream coming in from YouTube. But the bottom line is, if people aren't actively searching on the search engines on YouTube, then obviously that will eliminate the ability for you to use YouTube as a major traffic source. And it's an absolutely fantastic traffic source, because not only does it get you tons of free traffic that's very targeted, but it positions you as an expert in the process. So that's one of the main reasons I want you to pick a niche where people are actively searching for information. The other reason is we actually use, one of the methods I recommend these days is Bing pay-per-click. Oftentimes when launching your first venture, that's the quickest traffic you're going to get, is just Bing pay-per-click. It's Microsoft Bing. Google's a little tricky these days. They don't always like our kind of hardcore, direct marketing, squeeze page, list building kind of people, but definitely Bing. They're much more relaxed with their rules. And finally, the easily reachable part is just like, listen, is there other places online where you could reach your market? Are there forums that you could take advantage of? Whether or not, you'd be actually advertising or posting in the forums, with a link somewhere for people to reach out to you, or whether or not you're outsourcing that as a method. Are there sites where you could buy banners on, like one-off, targeted site buys? That's one of my most effective but very underutilized methods by most people, is actually just finding little sites that are already ranking in Google or whatnot, and getting dirt cheap banner buys on the site, one-off banner buys. So obviously, you want to make sure your market is searching in the search engines, and you want to make sure that you can reach them online, that they have an online presence, okay? Litmus test number 3 is there existing evidence that people in this market are already spending money trying to solve their problem or pursue their passion desire? Particularly, are they already spending money on information products? One of the biggest secrets of success, guys, is don't try to reinvent the wheel. Find out what's already working. Find out, jump in front of a parade that's already going on. That's a phrase that master copywriter John Carlton says a lot. If you can, you want to get into a market where there's at least some evidence that information products are already being sold, because it's already a proven market and they're proven that they buy information, right? Now, there is an exception to this rule, that this market validator can be optional in the case of under-marketed to intense passion niches. Now, one of the examples that we're going to get to a little bit, remember I'm going to give you these 3 real info product business examples. Believe it or not, and I chose this example because it was just so extreme and kind of off the beaten path. A year ago, I went into a niche. A year ago was actually when I sold it, but I went into a niche called, the niche is glass blowing, okay? Now that might seem crazy. Glass blowing is this ancient craft where people are basically using, they're basically melting hot glass and using all these metal tools to sculpt it and turn it into different kind of vases and bowls and artistic glass creations, right? It's actually a pretty amazing thing. But back in the day, I had this idea. It's like, maybe I can, maybe along with going into more competitive markets, why not try to just find an area where people are so passionate about something that even though maybe nobody's selling information to it yet, because the passion indicator of the passion index is so high that they still want to buy stuff. These are examples of like rabid, passionate markets. I have a marketing colleague of mine that found out that, those guys that are all about putting those flames on cars. They're all about putting those really cool looking flames, right, on cars, like graphics on cars. He found out that he had a suspicion, at least, that there was an intensely passionate group of people that wanted to learn how to do that. Obviously, part of it's a business venture, right? Well, what he did and what I did in this intense passion area is that we do a little survey. We run some pay-per-click traffic, or we even can run some YouTube-based traffic, and we target people in these passion niches, right? And we basically say, listen, I'm thinking about putting a book together or a course together on this topic area, and because I'm trying to get I want to make sure I don't leave anything out, do me a favor and give me your number one biggest question about the topic, and I'll make sure to give you a free copy when it's done, right? Well, based on the number of questions we get and the seriousness, right, of the questions, like how passionate they look, divided across the number of clicks that the actual survey gets, we can get a very good indicator of whether or not these people will actually pay money for information, right? So that's just the one exception there, is that for extreme passionate but under-marketed to niches, you don't always need to see evidence that there's already information being sold. Anyways, gonna move on here. Finally, litmus test number 4 is, can you see yourself at least being relatively interested in writing, blogging, or talking about this niche topic area? Again, one of the biggest traffic sources and biggest opportunities these days is creating your own YouTube channel. And it actually goes hand in hand with another strategy, which is basically creating your authority blog, right? This is all about the free traffic strategies, but the bottom line is you need to be able to produce content. So it does help if you have a little bit of an interest in a topic, okay? Whether or not you're doing YouTube videos or making the occasional blog post. But you do want to come off as the go-to person when you're doing things right. So, if you do have a little interest in a topic, all the better, right? Although it's very easy these days to become an expert in a flash, which is why I wrote another note here that if making maximum money and eventually being in multiple markets is all you really care about, this part can, of course, be optional too. Alright guys, finally we get to the exciting stuff. And as promised, each of these info product cash machine success steps, I'm going to be demonstrating to you and showing you actual examples of how I applied them in 3 different niches. And just so you know, the first niche I'm always going to show you, the first business, is going to be what I call a desperate market. Okay, this is oftentimes the most fertile ground for your first 1 or 2 information marketing ventures, because when you're dealing with desperate audiences that have a very specific problem, it just really is easy to put together a sales message in a special way. So it's just very easy for sales to happen. It also has to do with the way you can get the product outsourced. There's a special way, the special formula that I've figured out of how to enter these desperate problem markets, where it actually makes it so you literally don't have to write a word of the product or speak a word of the product yourself, but you can actually cherry pick the design of the product so the finished product ends up having a built-in hook, like a three-step, a four-step kind of secret that it's hinged upon, and at the end of the day, it makes it so 90% of the work is done for you. In any case, I'm going to be showing you a desperate market example for each step. Then I'm going to be showing you a passion market, like a rabidly passionate market that's very interested in learning a certain skill or a craft or something. And then the third example, because I know many people are always interested in the internet marketing world. Oftentimes that's where you have a lot of experience already. I'm going to be showing you an internet marketing example, okay? So without further ado, demonstration time, and let me demonstrate to you how I consistently apply the very first step of my info product cash machines formula and the kind of markets that I pick. Okay guys, here's the first example / case study of a desperate market that I targeted, actually about 2 years ago. Now, just so you guys know, I have since sold off 2 out of 3 of the ventures I'm going to be showing you guys. Obviously, over the years I've consolidated what I do into several mega niches, like, big, seriously competitive niches. But for the sake of demonstration, it doesn't make a difference. But this is a site I put up, a business venture I put up about 2 years ago in the tinnitus / ear ringing niche. This is the desperate market example. And, it obviously makes, perfect sense why this would be a desperate topic. If you got a ringing in your ears, if you can't sleep at night because your ears are buzzing or ringing, it's an absolutely desperate problem that people want to get fixed. And long story short is, I verified that there was tons of searches on ear ringing cure, tinnitus treatment, etc. And then I Googled some competitors, and there was competitors. I'm sure you could actually find them right now if you were to go to Bing or Google and type in tinnitus cure or ear ringing cure. And I bought the ebooks. There was a bunch of cheap ebooks at the time, and part of the secret, just so you know, we're not going to get into this now, but basically part of the secret, especially for these desperate markets, is simply discovering what your competition is basically recommending as advice, and then using that as a baseline, but then adding a unique extra thing into it. But I don't want to get into too much now. This is just to show you the niche. Tinnitus. It's one long sales letter. And don't worry, there's a lot of there is some testimonials on this now, but I definitely didn't start with testimonials. Again, it's not I don't own the site anymore, but I did create this. And going back to the desperate, look at some of the words on here. A desperate 5-year tinnitus sufferer accidentally stumbled upon, stopped the maddening ringing in his ears, blah, 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 blah. And here's some more desperation verbiage. I know it may be hard to believe, but after suffering for years from a maddening ringing in my ears that was literally driving me insane, going through one supposed tinnitus remedy after another and experiencing absolutely zero results, I accidentally stumbled on 3 simple little steps. Guys, put a star next to that, because this is going to come back. This is going to come into play with my product creation loophole for desperate markets, and it all kind of comes down to 3 steps, 3 simple little steps. Okay, but here, look at this: silenced the maddening ringing in my ears, saved my work life and my love life for that matter, restored my health. Very desperate market, and enough said there. Right now, don't worry about all the sales letter copy, guys. Later on, I'm going to show you the secret of what I call proven killer sales letter templates, and how you don't actually need to be a master copywriter at all to be able to pump something out like this. But anyways, long story short, I created this thing about 2 years ago, and literally it was an instant explosion of success. Partly, I did some good market research. I dug out the pain points. I knew all their experience, what it was like to have tinnitus, which is important. It's another step in the process we're going to go over. But, about the market now, desperate market, ear ringing, okay? This product at one point was the #1 best-selling tinnitus ebook in ClickBank. And I was actually making about $6,000 per month profit just off my tiny margin that I was keeping to myself after the affiliates were paid. Okay? I was giving out like 75% per sale, and the ebook sold for about $37. Excuse me. So I was only making about $7 to $9 per sale, but I was still bringing over $6,000 to $7,000 profit per month just from the affiliates. I want to move on here, guys, because I'm going to be showing this example a lot more in this webinar, okay, for every step I go through. But what I want to bring your attention to real quick is some people say, well, yeah, but it's a desperate problem. So once you've kind of fixed the problem, what else can you sell these people? You know? And it's actually really funny because I used to think like that too a long time ago. But two things here. A, there are tons of competing ebooks and audio courses and stuff that are on tinnitus, and people with a desperate problem will always buy more than one potential solution. That's the one thing. But here's the biggie, guys. Health remedy kind of stuff. The ultimate back end product that literally you could send a couple emails once you build a nice customer list on the front end product and literally create a six-figure income. The ultimate back end product is supplements on recurring income. Okay. Now there are so many ways to get access, even as an affiliate, to some kind of recurring billing supplement thing. And I know there's several of these just for tinnitus. So literally, guys, I actually sold this site. For whatever reason, it just wasn't my focus at the time. But the thing is, I mean, I had a customer list of, I don't know what it was. I probably had about 8,000 buyers of this single ebook. Okay, now if I would have been smart, and I was too scatterbrained at the time, I would have found a solid recurring income supplement. Okay, and I actually probably knowing what I know now, I would have probably private labeled my own, and I would have put these people into some kind of an auto ship program. Let me tell you, one little strategic 3 to 4 part email campaign about the supplement, instant six-figure business if I would have done that back then. So there are plenty of things to sell these people on the back end, when you have the big email list that you're going to build. So, don't think that these specific problem, desperate kind of audiences cannot build an incredible business, okay? So anyways, I'm taking too long here. Let me move on here to the next example. We're now going to get into the passion market example. This is going to look really ugly to you guys, and it's going to look comically ugly, actually. But that's not the point. Let me just get the screen better here. Hold on a sec here. Oops, I lost it. Hold on here. Okay, guys, here is the next example. This is a passion market example. This is probably the funniest example that I love to bring up because it's an off the beaten path, little weird micro niche that most people wouldn't even think twice about. Okay, but I implemented what I call my Ask campaign. This is actually something I learned a long time back from Frank Kern and company. But long story short, the niche here is glass blowing. Now, what a weird little niche. And this perfectly illustrates my whole point. Is like, listen, you don't need to be an expert to get into these niches. If you find something that's desperate enough or passionate enough, where there's enough emotions going through the people, I mean, you could sell as long as you have a relatively decent sales letter. And of course, my info product cash machine formula is going to make that literally point and click easy for you. But anyways, here's a passion niche, glass blowing. Learn the craft of glass blowing quickly and easily. Start making spectacular glass creations in less than 2 days using the step-by-step glass blowing information. Okay. Now, for passion niches, guys, assuming that you're not going to partner with an expert that really is like a master glass blower, or because again, my real focus in this business that I have as an info marketing coach is really bridging the gap for the people that want to get into information marketing but don't have all the ingredients of success. So the way I recommend people getting into a passion niche, especially if it's a little bit under the radar and under marketed to, is simply do a little brainstorm. There's different sites like eHow and whatnot, and you could just even do a brainstorm off the top of your head, like what are some passions? Like I could think of a couple right now. What about breeding horses? I'm sure there is a little niche of people that is obsessed with horses, wants to breed horses. Maybe dog breeding, right? The list just goes on and on. I think I brought up this example, I'm not sure, but I was friends with a colleague that discovered that there's a whole pool of people, a couple 100,000 people in America that want to learn how to customize cars with those awesome flame kind of graphics, like the flames from hell that make those cars look all kind of badass, for lack of better words. Well, that is that is a perfect example because this guy built a multiple six-figure business, just creating new designs and stuff, and videotaping it basically. And but anyways, that's another example of a passion niche. So this is a passion niche, and basically all I do is, if I'm wanting to get into another one of these, I'll just find some keywords that people are typing into, usually Bing these days, because Bing is easier to drive immediate traffic with. Google's a little bit less friendly these days. And I'll just put up an ask campaign, which, long story short, what's your number one biggest question about this topic? And you drive clicks, and if you see at least 20% of the clicks that are hitting the site, the survey, to actually leave a question, and if the questions look serious and you could sense there's a lot of passion in them, that's a very good indicator that you have a market. And long story short, these bullet points are actually the questions people asked flipped around into bullet points, so that you actually have your market create the product for you. Okay. I don't want to get too much into the copy right now, but I'll read the first paragraph. If you're interested in learning the wonderful craft of glass blowing without any headaches, needing to spend a lot of money, blah blah blah, making your own custom glass creations as soon as tomorrow, it's very important you read this letter. That first paragraph is all about hooking them in. Why should I read this? Okay. And here's why. And usually in a passion market, I will kind of like inflame the passion and the thoughts they already have about it that's already going on in their head. Okay, that's actually a very powerful sales principle that Robert Collier coined back in like the 1800s or something. You want to continue the conversation that's already going on in your prospect's head, right? But this is some passion writing here. I'm making them more excited. They're saying, yes, exactly, that's why I like it. Exactly, that's why it's so cool. Blah 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 blah. And then you end up, however, there's a problem, right? Getting this type of nitty gritty information has been very difficult. And you don't have to spend too much time on the problem. And then here you need, if only you had this, right? You need crystal clear step by step, blah blah blah, right? So now you get into the solution. Very simple sales letter, guys. Again, I have templates for this stuff. I put this together probably in about 4 hours, maybe 1 or 2 days. And but we're not going to get into the copy right now. But anyways, guys, this little business here, I did not turn this into a full, 8,000 plus per month business, because I kind of realized that I wanted to go after bigger markets at the time. But let me tell you, this thing was making 4 or 5 grand a month. 4 or 5 grand a month. And because the competition is literally zero for these micro passion niches, the clicks are like almost like, you can get like 5 to 10 cent clicks, guys. So it was very easy for me to turn a healthy profit in this, and I actually did pick up about 5 or so affiliates off of ClickBank that were sending me a constant stream of sales too. Really want to get back to this one principle, guys. You don't need a very big customer list to make very big money. Okay, you could have a customer list of 500, 1,000 people who are absolutely rabid about a topic, and simply by blogging for them and creating some free videos for them and communicating with them with email, the way I show you, of course, in the Info Product Cash Machine formula, you're going to turn them into raving fans. And all it takes is one slightly higher price product that you do a campaign for to your list that can make you 20, 30 grand, no problem. Okay. I'm actually viewing this site on the archive.org because, once again, I sold the site a long time ago. You guys, you can't blame me for not wanting to show actual active, currently things I'm involved in, right? Because, I don't need to, every time I've done that in the past, people literally copy me verbatim, and it just creates a competitor, especially with the lethal formula I'm going to be teaching you guys here. I am teaching you guys that really forces you to succeed. But I actually want to show you the back-end product I created for this only after I was making really good money with the front end. And by back-end product, guys, I mean a more expensive next thing I can sell my customers, right? So let's go here. I put up a second product called Hot Glass Mastery. And for this one, guys, once you get the foot in the door and you're making some good money with the first product, you can, by all means, partner with somebody who is a bona fide expert. And I actually did. We took an entire film crew down to, I think somewhere in Vermont, and we partnered with a guy named Dustin Revere, who was a master glass artist. And long story short, I created this. Okay, this is Hot Glass Mastery. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but this is a long sales letter because I actually kind of overdid this. but the images aren't shown right now because again this isn't currently active. I sold this a long time ago, but image, DVD, 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 DVD. Okay, I went over and beyond here, guys, and by all means, you don't have to do this to get to your first 10 grand a month. But this was a 100. What was it? This is like a $197 video course. That was my back end product. And when I launched this to my list of buyers who bought the front end ebook, the Glass Blowing Bible, I think I made around, I don't remember exactly, but it was over $30,000 from a couple emails to my list. So again, here's a passion niche example, okay guys? Now let me pause this real quick. Okay guys, Corey Freeman back here, and I want to show you that promised third example that I guess it fits more along the lines of, it's kind of a combination of desperate and passion, right? Because this is all about making money. This is the internet marketing example. And, not having enough money is a desperate problem, but a lot of people are actually passionate about, owning their own business, making money online. So it kind of combines the best of both worlds. And I do know that there's a significant percentage of my clients that are going to want to do stuff in the internet marketing world. So the first thing I want to really show you guys here, guys, and I probably showed you this already before, but just to illustrate how versatile my info product cash machine formula is, take a look at all these different niches I got into. Celebrity Panda Cash, that was an SEO product, right? The Panda Update. Kindle, I got into Kindle bestsellers on command. Local Cash on steroids, that was a local marketers, offline marketers. And I think those were the main areas. Here's another SEO product. So really I was in Kindle, I was in SEO, and I was actually in YouTube, but that was a different platform. That was JVZoo, not Warrior Plus. But right now I want to bring your attention to a product. Let me just find it real quick. Okay, product called Kindle Content Miracle. Now, Kindle was one of my larger, if not the largest, WSO kind of market I entered. And actually, guys, what's funny is looking back at this now, I would have been much better off staying in one or two niches and building a real big business around there. Okay, I just want to throw that out real quick because I was all over the place when I was really into launching WSOs and not focusing on my 2 or 3 big markets right now. But anyways, Kindle Content Miracle was the niche. It's obviously a sub niche of internet marketing and make money online. Kindle publishing, making money from putting up books on Kindle, either nonfiction or fiction. Very hot topic, has been for the last 3, 4, 5 years. As you can see right here, this puppy right here sold over 1,449 copies. And I was actually one of the few guys that usually 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 3 of my launches would sell over 1,000 copies, guys. So I just to show you that I know how to put words on a piece of paper that bring in tons of sales, and I know how to create products that are extremely sexy, for lack of better words. Okay, so that's all good news for you guys if you're going to keep on learning this info product cash machines formula. Anyways, Kindle Content Miracle. This example, guys, within the internet marketing world, or whatever you want to call it, this is an example of what I call finding a unique value lever for the market. Okay, so many people, especially in the make money world, internet marketing, think that if they're going to be a guru on anything or they're going to create an info product on anything in the internet marketing world, they need massive income proof. Well, I'm here to tell you that's absolutely not the case. And I want to illustrate that to you with this particular one that, by the way, again, 1,449 copies sold, okay? Take a look at this upsell right here. Kindle Content Miracle Platinum, 484 sold, 33% take rate. It's really, really good. Okay. Unique value lever, okay? This is how to get into a lot of different kinds of markets, but particularly it works well with internet marketing stuff. Okay, long story short, Kindle was an extremely powerful moneymaker for a lot of people, but when it first launched, what people were doing, a lot of people was slapping together duplicate content, private label rights, kind of junky stuff, right? And it worked for a long time, and people made 6-figure incomes doing it. But I knew the market because I was just kind of staying on top of it and just doing some basic market research. And I knew that the biggest problem people had was now that they could not keep putting together cheap, private label rights junk ebooks, for lack of better words, and that Amazon was banning people for doing that, I knew that people needed the ultimate solution that they needed basically was a dirt cheap content source, a dirt cheap way to put together ebooks that were good enough to be sold, that were at least quality enough, but to do it dirt cheap. Because these people went from like maybe paying like $5-10 to put out a book to now they're looking at having to hire an American writer or somebody who at least is going to charge them $500 or 3 to 4 $500, right? So knowing what I knew about outsourcing and knowing that there were plenty of good English-speaking Filipino writers that will gladly write, I brainstormed just like a template process where, long story short, you could hire like these people overseas that were cheap who spoke good English to use to basically write articles, but in a way so each article was like a chapter of the ebook, right? So basically, you could hire these people to write 15, 500, 800 word articles, but but there's a very specific way I set it up so each article was a chapter of the book. So basically, for the cost of 10 to 15 articles, for if it's a Filipino or something, you're looking at $3, maybe not even like $1 an article. For like $15, these people were able to slap together books that sold well and were good enough for Amazon. Okay, so that was like the ultimate solution, and that just requires a little bit of brainstorming. You got to, okay, what's valuable to this market? What makes these people happy? What are they looking for? And once you know what is valuable, you could brainstorm what I call a unique value lever. And this is an example of putting something together where I did not need any income proof, because what I was selling was not the actual like whole thing in a box. It was just a way for them to solve the biggest problem they had, which in turn would let them get the end result, right? So there's lots of ways to get into markets where, like, the proof of the end result that they want or income proof is not what you need. You just need to be able to give them something that solves a problem or gives them some value, right? And in this case, it was a dirt cheap outsourcing method for getting Kindle books made, dirt cheap, that were quality enough, that were original content, right? So, I'm not going to read through all the copy now, basically, but I go through, like, I tend to go through, what's so amazing about whatever it is, the amazing, gold rush opportunity that Kindle is. I sell the sizzle, okay? But then but there's a problem, right? But if you're even thinking about using PLR, duplicate content, forget about it. So sell the dream, but there's a problem. You dig the knife in, you make the problem even worse. You really make the problem painful, okay? And then you come out with the solution. What if there was a way to provide dirt cheap Filipino content writers, blah, blah, blah. You guys get it? So anyways, there you go. This is a Blockbuster Kindle launch. Blockbuster Kindle launch. Didn't have any income proof, etc. Sold over 1,449 copies. And again, I want to keep bringing this back, guys, because this is about building a business, okay? If I were to, spend a little more time, build a relationship with these people, provide some more free Kindle training, put up an authority blog, create a YouTube channel, become like a Kindle guru, okay? Even a list of 1,400 people, I mean, that'll easily make you 30 grand, 40 grand if you put together like a $297 more advanced training, okay? So money's in the list. It's always about building the buyer's list, okay? Anyway, so that was the third example, guys. I got to hustle along here because I'm taking a little bit too long, I think. Want to get through a lot of stuff here. And so those are the three examples, guys. Desperate market, banished tinnitus, earringing, okay? Passion market, glass blowing, to use a crazy example. And internet marketing, we're going to focus on Kindle, just the one I just showed you, okay? Real quicker, just for, I hope you guys appreciate the value you're getting here. But, I'm all about serious clients, and if you want to work with me in the future, it's all good, whatever. But one more example of this, guys. I'm not going to get into it quickly. This product right here, buyer keyword ecstasy, okay? This was in the SEO niche. Everybody was all about finding these buyer product name keywords, right? Like, Ab Circle Pro review. Ab Circle Pro doesn't work. Ab Circle Pro, right? Actual product name. I basically, over the years, I knew about, and I even researched some more actually, 10 or 15 specific methods that unearth buyer keywords, right? So this wasn't me with income proof that I make a ton of money in SEO. I wasn't even an SEO expert. I simply put together, I knew that people loved buyer keywords because they're easy to rank for, easy to make what are called sniper sites about. Even if you want to bid on pay-per-click, it's very easy to turn a profit when you're bidding on the product name, right? So I knew this is something they valued and that they loved, buyer keywords. So I'm like, heck, I'm going to come up with 10 product name buyer keyword finding methods, that they haven't probably heard of, and that's going to be the whole product. Lo and behold, 793 copies sold. Not too shabby, okay? Doesn't take into account the 192 platinum upsells and etc. Okay, guys? Okay, guys, well, that's just the first step here. I want to show you 3 different niches that follow the litmus test as far as either being very desperate, extremely passionate, or kind of a combination of both in the internet marketing Kindle example. And I will be right back with you in the PowerPoint presentation. Alright, guys, now we're at Info Product Cash Machine step number 2. Finding your way in. The biggest secret you've never been told, guys. And guys, this is probably directly related to the number one, stumbling block for most people, for most entrepreneurs, and that is simply that, they don't feel like they have that expertise or whatever, the ingredients of success, the proof, that they've already walked the walk in an info topic to get into a niche. And this is really going to blow you away. And I've actually been kind of alluding to this the whole time. The key concept here. Generally speaking, people want to buy info products from people who already have and can prove that they have the end result that they themselves want to achieve. This is what stops most aspiring info marketers from ever taking that first step and setting up shop, so to speak, within a niche that they want to sell info products to. However, what these aspiring info marketers don't know is that you simply do not need any pre-existing topic expertise, credibility, proof, or even any customer testimonials. However, that's first of all, if you're able to exploit what I called before in one of my examples, a unique value lever. Again, how can you solve somebody's problem that even though that itself does not give them the end result, it will get them closer to the end result. It'll unblock them from getting their end result, right? In the Kindle example, I knew people needed dirt cheap quality content that was original, okay? That was it. Okay, I didn't come in there and say, listen, I make $1 million doing Kindle publishing. I didn't show them income screenshots of $8,000 a month. Okay, I just said, listen, Kindle is amazing, here's why it's amazing, but here's the problem right now, and here's the solution. And it was exactly what they wanted, okay? That's the first thing, okay? If you can do that, you don't need to worry about any of that, ingredients of success stuff. And this is particularly relevant to the desperate problem market. Think back to my tinnitus ear ringing example. Or if you're able to create an intense rapport with your target market before offering them the solution. Now, I don't expect you to fully grasp what I just said. So just like before, demonstration time. But just real quick, guys, the whole rapport thing is all about, what does rapport mean? It means showing people that you're just like them, you've been through what they've been through. So like, and you know what it's like you've worn their moccasins, right? You've walked a mile in their moccasins. If you can show somebody that you've been in their shoes and you can actually talk about specific life experiences and situations that make them say, that's exactly what I went through, that's exactly how I feel. If you can do that, they'll almost give you the benefit of the doubt and say, well, oh, you found something that works, you found a solution, okay, let's see what it is, I'll give it a try, right? If you can get on their side of the table, for lack of better words, it instantly bonds you to them and it instantly creates massive trust because everything you're saying is ringing true, okay? So the best way to show this to you guys is demonstration time, okay? It's via demonstration, so I'll be right back with you. Alright guys, demonstration time. Now the first part of the slide we just saw, the whole unique value lever, I think you guys get that now because I did talk about it pretty well just 5-10 minutes ago. The unique value lever being, in this case, a dirt cheap way to get quality Kindle books written, because that was the biggest problem. That were original work, right? So the unique value lever is pretty easy to get your head around. So I'm going to spend most of the time in this little demonstration going over the whole intense rapport thing. because your way in, really, if you don't have any ingredients of success, income proof, experience in a niche, it really does come down to, can you find a unique value lever, or can you at least demonstrate intense rapport? So you've been in their shoes, okay? So I'm going to go back to this tinnitus example because it just demonstrates it so well, right? Here's a long story short, guys, right? This entire sales letter and my entire formula for entering desperate markets, especially if they're health kind of remedy markets. And by the way, guys, I always base my products on proven to be helpful solutions. I never just sell junk, okay? Because of course, a lot of these health ailments could be very serious, very painful to go through. So what I always do is I buy the top 3, 4 mainstream ebooks or whatnot on the health, on whatever issue it is, right? I read them all, I study them all, and I make sure that they've all sold lots, like thousands of copies, and that they have positive reviews, okay? So I'm never just pulling the stuff out of my you-know-what, okay? Very important to be ethical doing this. And some of you might actually have a little thing where it's like, well, I've never, suffered from this thing. Well, you know what? Do what you got to do. Find an aunt or an uncle that may have, find a story of a person that did go through it. In my own mind, and, I'm not a lawyer, but I know that tons of people just go into niches because they know how to write copy, okay? But I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving legal advice, okay? In my mind, if your product is quality and you're helping people, give yourself a pat on the back, okay? Anyways, back to the whole intense rapport thing. My whole formula for desperate markets, and just so you guys know, I went on an absolute tirade. I put out like 20 desperate market books several years ago because I had the formula. It's a template formula, okay? But my whole formula for these products is basically find a desperate topic, verify that people are searching for it very well, like, at least 30, 40,000 a month, okay? Then get inside the head of the target market, basically walk in their shoes, figure out all those pain points that they're going through, okay? Like, how does tinnitus play out in their life, Does it keep them awake at night? And are they stressed out all the time? Are they waking up exhausted because they haven't gotten more than a few hours sleep? Are they at work and are they freaking out at work because every time they try to concentrate, all they can focus on is the ringing in their ears? Are they literally, losing their mind because it's just ringing is like their entire mental thought? That's all that market data that you got to dig out, and we'll get into more of that later. But I want to talk about my formula for this now because it'll be much more it'll make more sense. Basically, is find the desperate problem niche, okay? Dig out all those specific experiences and all that stuff that's going to give you what I call affinity with the market, so you know exactly what they're going through. And then basically, this whole sales letter is a story. It's actually known as a Blackie story. It's a very forgotten thing, but the Blackie story, you see it all over the place. It's basically the rags to riches story. It's from failure, misery, to finally discovering something, and the table turns around, right? It's literally everywhere in the world, that Blackie story template. But basically, I come up with a story that basically says, let me just read this to you. I know it may be hard. Let me read the headline. Three stupid simple steps formula that a desperate 5-year tinnitus sufferer accidentally, a little mystery there, right, stumbled upon that instantly and permanently end result, right? Stop my maddening ear ringing after nothing else worked. There's a lot of power in the headline, guys, but we'll get to that later. Without drugs, without. People have tried everything. They need something new. They want to know it's new, right? So, dear friend, I know it may be hard to believe. Think about, just keep your mind on rapport here. How I'm telling them I know what they've been through, and it's really true stuff. I dug this out with my market research. I know it may be hard to believe, but after suffering for years from a maddening ringing in my ears that was literally driving me insane, going from one supposed tinnitus remedy to another and experiencing absolutely zero results, I accidentally stumbled on 3 simple little steps. 3 simple little steps that, to my amazement, silenced the ringing, saved my work life, restored my health and energy levels, and brought peace, restfulness, and sanity back into my life. I knew the market, guys. I dug this stuff out of the market, okay? And anyways, but I really want to show you, this is where so I usually have an entry paragraph that's all about hooking them in, and you need some benefit there. So it's like a quick before and after. I discovered these 3 secrets. It helped this, it helped this, it helped this. And it had nothing to do with this, if you're thinking it was one of those things. So that hooks him in, right, real quick. But then I get into this. This is the real Blackie story here. And this is the story of literally misery. Like, let me just read it. My name is Paul Carrington, pen name, right? And up to the last 2 years, I suffered immensely from a maddening ringing in my ears. Just wouldn't stop. But as you can imagine, it wasn't just me, but my entire family. This is what I want you guys to pay attention to here, guys. Listen to how specific, real, and real these examples are. So believe me when I say, I know what it's like to go through life feeling tense, agitated, and exhausted because of the maddening ringing in your ears that just won't quit. I know what it's like to lay in bed for hours on end, hoping and praying for just a tiny slice of silence so you can get the rest you desperately need. Take a look at this one. I know what it's like to feel disconnected from the ones you love most because tinnitus is sucking the life out of you. How the heck would I have known that unless I spent at least several hours listening to these people, reading their forum posts, guys? See that? I know what it's like to worry about your work life, fearing the tension, anxiety, sheer exhaustion will ruin your productivity and spell disaster. So this is all stuff I did from market research, guys, and that's what I mean by intense rapport. So the person who has the problem, who has tinnitus ringing in their ears, is reading this, and they're saying to themselves, "Yeah, that's what I'm going through. Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. Oh my God, this guy experienced that too? This guy knows me like my life book. This guy is me, right? This guy or gal, right?" And that's what I mean by intense rapport. So this story goes on here, guys, and I got to speed up a little bit. And I do a couple nifty things, like and again, guys, testimonials came later on. Did not start with testimonials. Honestly, actually didn't make much of a difference in conversions. But I do a couple cool things here. What I kind of do is I open a bunch of loops, and I'm always pushing the curiosity factor. But again, this is all going to be gone over if you ever work with me and stuff in my sales letter, killer sales letter, sales video templates. Okay, so as far as copy goes, if you end up working with me, you don't need to worry about being able to write copy. Okay. Anyways, it continues on. Can you relate to this? I keep on going. Still remember those horrible times like they were yesterday. Forced myself out of bed, completely exhausted from another anxious, sleepless night, blah, blah, blah. Nothing like starting the day feeling like death, huh? The horrible thoughts would come. Another grueling work day, zero sleep, a ruthless boss, all while the screaming ring in my ears kept blazing on. Very emotional, right? And then, all the things they tried, right? Because these are the things people have tried. I guess the point here, guys, is I didn't make this stuff up. I didn't make this stuff up. And absolutely nothing I tried work. And then what I like to call is a crescendo moment, right? Crescendo moment, like when the absolute rock bottom worst thing, it finally got, and in this story, I actually talked about a story of a friend, because looking back at it, I did base this on a friend. I did. That I knew, not too well, but I did know him. And he actually did have a car accident. Now, do I know that his tinnitus caused it? Not exactly sure. But, for the sake of being truthful, it checked out, legally at least. So the crescendo moment here is that, he crashed on the way to work. And basically the way the story went was, after too many days of being strung out, stressed out, not getting sleep, you start to kind of lose your mind a little bit. And this guy actually, the story here is, he crashed on the way to work, and basically that was the ultimate downfall moment. That was the rock bottom, right? Going back to the Blackie story, okay? And then basically, I even pushed it further here, but I don't need to get into all this stuff. He actually went under surgery, because my friend did go under surgery. Still didn't work, blah, 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 blah. And then finally we get to the turning point, right? In this case, it was the shocking question that changed my life forever, and which led me to the number one reason why nearly all tinnitus treatments don't work. Then I actually found a study, which is great technique, by the way, guys. And again, guys, this sales letter is over the top. I mean, this is really overachieving. You don't need to be this good, but I'm a copywriter, okay? Wait one sec here. The way I kind of tied it into the solution here was there was a research study that found unless sinus issues and anxiety issues are treated, the nerves inside your inner ear can still continue to send ringing signals, okay? So it's like a three-step thing, and that finally I introduced my solution here, okay, guys? So that's enough. That the main point here was I just wanted to show you what intense rapport was like, okay? It's all about walking in your, digging that data out of the market so you can put it into your sales letter or sales video as sales ammunition, okay? And again, I'm going to be showing you guys how to get templates, fill in the blank style, okay? So you could never have to worry about what to say where. You just have to dig out the data, dig out the market research stuff from the market using some simple methods like forums and Google searches and even finding videos of people. They literally hand you all the sales ammunition you need. It's almost like they're writing the sales letter for you, okay? So there's what I wanted to demonstrate there, guys, and I'll be right back with you in the PowerPoint mode. Okay, guys, and just to wrap that part up, that finding your way in, if you don't have any expertise or credibility or testimonials or end results in a niche, it all comes down to, in my mind, those two things. It's either finding a unique, where am I here? Finding a unique value lever, okay, just like I showed you before with Kindle or with the SEO, buyer keywords, and or being able to demonstrate such an intense rapport with your target market that they believe that you've been exactly in their shoes, so therefore it makes sense if you found a way out. If you found a solution, it makes sense to buy from you, okay? Those are the two way-in methods that work regardless. And of course, guys, there's always other ways to do it. You can interview experts. If I know one of the formula is pick a hot topic. Let's say in the internet marketing world, a hot topic right now is Facebook ads, right? Because Google isn't playing nice anymore. So, 5 leading Facebook ad gurus reveal their ultimate secret from going to $0 to $5,000 profit per month in under, literally within 10 days maximum, right? You could interview multiple experts. Heck, if you're willing to get a little more serious, you could actually seek out somebody who already does have the end results. If you want to get into Forex, be a real big player, Forex trading, you could seek out somebody who's already making 100 grand, 200 grand, $1 million a year with Forex, right? But again, I say make your first 6-figure income with this, getting into markets with the stuff I'm teaching you here, and then go for your multi-million dollar business, okay? Anyways, moving on here. Let's get to the next step, which is info product cash machine step number 3. Unearth your target customer's hot buttons and gain solid customer affinity so you can achieve intense trust and rapport with your target customer, making them think to themselves, wow, this person's just like me. This person's been through exactly what I've been through. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. The biggie, especially for the desperate market example, wow, this person was just like me, and somehow he or she discovered, found, put together the solution to our problem. Notice how I underlined our, because you were one of them, okay? Now because of this, I now believe there is a solution to my problem. I trust him or her, because he or she's been in my shoes, okay? And will be more than happy to let him or her shortcut my path to the end result I want. And the other thing, guys, with desperate markets in particular, people are so desperate that they'll take a chance. I mean, they know that there's always a chance it's not going to work for them, okay? But they're so desperate, it's like money is a non-issue. Low-ticket products, $27, whatever, for an ebook or an audio course, they'll take a chance, even if it's like 1 out of 5 chance it might work for them, okay? Anyways, I'm not going to get... I'm going to read a little bit more here, but I'm not going to get deep into this because I really did kind of cover it before. But everything you do in this step comes down to digging out the specific hopes, fears, dreams, and utmost desires of your target market, along with the knowledge of how the problem they are trying to solve or the desire they want to fulfill actually plays out in their life, situationally, experientially. Okay, guys? And the reason we do this is so that you can gather the sales ammunition to plug into those killer sales letter templates I've been talking about, that you need to put together a killer sales letter or video that makes your target customers foam at the mouth with desire to buy what you have, okay? Whipping out their wallets to buy your info products like crazy. And I did put demonstration time here, guys, but I did just cover that really well in the last slide, and it looks like we're actually taking a little longer than I thought we'd be taking here. So just real quick, the way I do this, guys, I simply Google whatever the problem is, forum, okay? That's the first technique. That oftentimes that's all I do, okay? And then you go into the forums and you look for people that are talking about painful issues, okay? And the things they've tried already, okay? And what's it like in their, what's a day in their shoes is like, you know? And I'll oftentimes create a market data sheet, simple text file. And next, every time I hear something like, can't fall asleep because of ear ringing, right? I'll write that core thing down like, can't fall asleep, ear ringing. And every time I see another person make a post on the forum about that, I'll put a tally mark next to it. And what you end up having is a prioritized list of the most dominant problems or anxiety points or pain points of your market, right? And this can kind of be done in any kind of market, but it works particularly well with the desperate kind of markets. So Google forums are one of them. Google is just another in general. One technique I learned was you talk about the problem and then you do space and then in quotes you put so bad, because you're trying to find out what's so bad about whatever the problem is, okay? But generally speaking, you want the market data sheet and you create a prioritized list so you know what are the biggest pain points and life experiences that are the worst, and it kind of going down in order, and that can sort of let you know what to put higher up in your sales letter when we get to the plug and play templates, okay, guys? Is that pretty much okay? As far as the other thing is, passion markets, guys, it's kind of the opposite. You do the same thing, but instead of like digging out so much different pain, life situation stuff, you simply look for where's the passion coming from. What's that dream fantasy that's playing out in their heads? Why do they really want this? Well, is it because they want to impress their peers? Is it because it's just so much fun to do? It's relaxing. It's pure enjoyment, right? For like the glass blowing example. So it's a little bit different there, but you're still digging it out based on forums and stuff like that. You'll be surprised that sometimes you'll find that the main motivation is really to impress their peers. Believe it or not, it's not always a simple enjoyment kind of a thing. And obviously the same stuff if you're going into an internet marketing, make money market. I mean, you need to understand, you want to first focus it on the sub-niche. Are you in SEO? Is it in Kindle? Is it in local offline marketing consultants? Et cetera. Then you want to kind of get an idea of what is the current status quo. What are the solutions being offered? What's the current what's the starting point, right? What's the status quo? And then you kind of want to find out, okay, what are the kind of like the biggest problems or pain points that people in these different markets are experiencing. I know in offline marketing, for people trying to use their internet marketing skills to get offline local businesses to hire them, I know one of the biggest pain points is it's just hard to be positioned as an expert. It's hard to make them, why should they hire you as opposed to all these other guys who already have proof and whatnot, okay? You know what? Sake of value here, let me give you another perfect example. I recently bought a product from a guy. It was a fantastic product in local marketing. Again, this is about getting local businesses ranked in Google or providing internet marketing services. He addressed that problem perfectly because he talked about you actually send a message out to lots of outsourcers that outsource the SEO work, and you ask them, you tell them, listen, I am looking to hire you for the long term. You sound good. You have exactly what I want, but I'm going to be using you with a very exclusive portion of my clients, so I want to make sure that you walk the walk, and I want to see some proof that you actually provide the great results that you say you do. And guess what, guys? Because the outsourcer is the one that's going to be actually doing the work and getting your clients ranked, you can use their proof as your proof. Isn't that amazing? See how that's a perfect solution to that whole problem of not being an expert, not having existing client proof that they started on page 8 and now they're on page 1 of Google? That is a perfect example of finding that unique value lever. Okay, but again, you got to get into the markets and dig that data out. That's the point of this little part here. Okay, guys. All right, guys. Here we are at Info Product Cash Machine step number 4, and I hope you guys have been finding all the earlier steps extremely eye-opening and valuable. And you're starting to realize, like, listen, man, there is a way I can do this. I can become an info marketer. and I can start living that dream lifestyle business. Okay, guys? All right, so info product cash machine step number 4 is all about mapping out your front end product and your upsell offer. Now, I always recommend clients have an upsell. Remember, our primary goal, if you're a serious info marketer, and listen, several of the traffic methods I teach, the YouTube channel, dirt cheap, Bing pay-per-click, your authority blog. I actually happen to know multiple ways to get dirt cheap clicks. So even with the front end product alone, you should be very profitable. But I once had a conversation with a master marketer who had multiple 7-figure businesses, and he's like, you know what the biggest thing that stops info marketers from really growing and getting to 7-figure land? It's that they try too much to make a profit from the front end. And when you really want to get serious, and again, this is down the road, guys. This is after you're making some, 6-figure income, really. But one of the biggest secrets is using your sales funnel, your initial sales funnel, whether or not it's a front-end product and an upsell and maybe one other thing down the road, is being able to invest the majority of that back into getting more and more customers, because your big profits are going to come from your email list of buyers. And when you sell them either more expensive stuff, even if it's like a little bit more expensive, like taking them from a $27, $37 purchase to a $97 or a couple $100, okay, or continuity income kind of stuff. Again, there's a huge opportunity in these health remedy kind of niches to sell them on the back end, to email your list the offer of a supplement kind of a thing on AutoBill. Okay, so but the bottom line is you need to get your front end product in place and your upsell offer. Okay, so this is relatively straightforward, but the approach differs a little bit depending on what type of niche you are entering and the way in from step 2 you're going to use to enter the niche. And I'm just going to talk about this real quick because it doesn't need a long tangent. My big secret, guys, and this is like a $100,000 secret right here, for the desperate markets, like the health remedy kind of markets, or any kind of desperate problem, I always want to have a killer hook. Okay, and my formula for those kind of markets is have a killer, 2 to 5 step hook. You want to be able to frame your solution, okay, into 2 to 5 steps, like my simple 3-step secret, right? My simple 5-step, paint by number solution, right? So I always have that as a hook. And basically what I do is I basically will cherry pick 2 of the things. Let's just use a 3-step hook, right? I will cherry pick 3 of the secrets or the core mechanisms, right? The things that create the results from my competitors' products, and then I will add 1 more of my own that I'll do some research to at least know that it is effective. It will only help the issue, right? And what do I have there, guys? I have 3 steps. I have a 3-step system, right? So a big part of these desperate market sales letters, and a lot of sales letters in general, is called being blind. You want to go blind. You want to constantly talk about the problem and how bad it is, and you want to constantly titillate them on the solution, but you never actually get into the solution. What is the solution, right? So you keep it very blind, and you're constantly kind of teasing them in a way. And by the way, guys, my sales letter templates that you will get access to if you stay on board with me, or if you even go to my blog, etc., that eliminates all the guesswork on how to pull this stuff off. But the bottom line is, for the desperate market example, you just want to basically cherry pick 2 or 3 of the core mechanisms that do most of the results, that produce 90% of the results in your competitors' products, and then add 1 new thing in as your own, so they can't claim you just copied them, right? And then basically, I'm telling you, these again about mapping out the products. For my ebook Banish Tinnitus, I literally it was only about 25 or so pages. Can't remember exactly. The first 20 pages, guys, was just my story. It was my personal story of dealing with tinnitus, okay, or the story of the guy that it was based on. And then the entire core secret, the 3-step secrets of the product, was literally the back 4 to 5 pages, okay? I gave them very specific. Here, I finally discovered this is what worked. Here's the first thing. Here's the second thing. Here's the third thing. Okay? So This is all about mapping out your product, right? If you're going into a desperate, particularly like a health kind of ailment or a remedy market, which is a killer, as you know, because how easy it is to make sales and because of the incredible supplement recurring income back-end opportunity you have there, right? But if you're going into those kind of markets, literally, guys, we're talking a 25 to 47 page ebook. 90% of it can be the story, which could be similar to your sales letter, right? But a little bit toned down, more down to earth. When I was diagnosed, or when I first had this issue, all the things I went through, blah blah, and then you could actually fluff it up with some other like second tier methods that have been sort of said to work. Like there's a whole slew of natural stuff that supposedly helps, right? But then the hero, the crescendo of your ebook, let's just say, or your audio course for this kind of a desperate market would be these specific 3 steps that you found worked better than anything else, right? But I just want to give you an example. That's how you literally, guys, can literally cherry pick your best-selling desperate market product out of thin air and do it so it has a hook, a very sexy, and I love that word. All of us copywriters love the word sexy. Don't ask us why. But you do it so there's a 3-step hook built into it. Discover the 3 simple steps that finally benefit, right? Let me tell you, people love step by step. 3 simple steps, that's like ABC. And, it's just, and so if you can build a blinding rapport with people by all the market research stuff, plugging in that stuff to the sales letter, and then you can frame it and you finally discover the 3-step solution, let me tell you something, it leads to explosive sales. Okay? So that's the desperate kind of market. That's how you map out your product. Guys, it's literally as simple as buy top 2-3 competitors' books, distill them down to their core secrets or mechanisms that produce all the results. Basically, what's their bottom line secrets, right? Then cherry pick the 2 or the 3 most powerful ones from your competitors, okay? And then add one of your own, and bang, you have your own unique kind of, you have the guts of your product, right? And you have and you could frame it as a 3-step, 4-step, 5-step secret method, right? So the rest is kind of fill in the gaps, right? You just outsource that on Odesk, and you tell them to put a little story in the front. Actually here's a really good key, right? You tell them, here's my competitor's ebook. I want you to, and if you want to really make sure you put quality out, right? I want you to include everything that my competitor talks about, but in a different order. But then I want you to make the hero or the crescendo of the entire ebook these specific 3 steps. And I want you to create a chapter that says, like something like, my 3-step breakthrough that worked when nothing else did, right? And that comes out at the end of the ebook, right? So there's your little blueprint formula right there, guys, for desperate markets, okay? And that could obviously be kind of like transferred to non-health desperate markets. But honestly, guys, I've had so much success in the health areas. I recommend, if you're going to be going for a desperate market, start with something like that. I think it's just the surest way in. And it works particularly well with my sales letter template stuff that I'll be eventually showing you if you show me that you're serious, okay, guys, or if you read my blog or whatnot. Okay, so that was the map out brainstorm process for the desperate market. I'm going to go real quick here because we're taking too long. For the passion market, for glass blowing, guys, that's really stupid simple. You simply do like an ask campaign. What's your number one? You buy some cheap Bing pay-per-click. You send them to a little survey page. What's your number one biggest question about blah blah, whatever topic it is, and all the questions that they give you back, and you definitely want at least 20, 30 of them. Okay, you outsource that on Odesk or something, and you say, listen, I want you to create me a nice little ebook on, for instance, glass blowing. Right? How crazy is that, right? And I basically want the chapter, each of these questions, I want you to make a chapter. And it could be a 1-page chapter. It could be a 2-page chapter, right? But each of those questions, basically, or at least you want to make sure they cover them somewhere, right? So the bullet points, the questions they submit to you literally become the bullet points in your sales letter, and the questions they ask you are what you give to the outsourcer to write you a nice 50, 60, 70 page, not even that, could be a 30-page ebook, honestly, on the topic, okay? And that's literally how you map out the product in that passion niche. Now, is this the only way to do it? No. Is this the most beginner-friendly way to do it? Yes. And it's also actually very powerful because It gives you these killer bullet points that, once again, continue the conversation that's already going on in their head, because these are questions that actual people who are interested in the topic asked, right? So when they start reading those bullet points, how to make gorgeous glass pipes, right? That sparkle with glitter using the whatever technique, right? They're going to read that and they're going to say, "Holy crap, that's exactly what I want," right? Because the market did vote for that. They submitted questions on that. Okay, so that should be enough to give you a good idea about that. And again, guys, okay, here's the one more example I want to talk about here. Let's see, make sure I'm not missing. Okay, this is the demonstration time. The one more example, guys, is with the internet marketing kind of stuff. This is the way I like to do it in internet marketing. There's something called the big box value effect. People, like, particularly in the internet marketing world, we've kind of spoiled people, and they expect this big mound of stuff: audios, videos, a cheat sheet PDF, etc. Right? I mean, bonus interviews, whatever. When they buy even lower priced products. So, what I usually will do, regardless of what is the topic, a make money topic or whatever, if it's Kindle, if it's SEO, I will always want to have a video, an audio, and a PDF component. But it's actually very simple, because you simply record the main product one time, with your voice or whatever. It doesn't need to be fancy. In video, right? Like you could, just like what I'm doing here, simple. There's multiple, Camtasia, there's Jing, there's some free options, and then there's options in all these programs to simply save as audio only. And then you save it as an audio MP3. So now you have a video component. Now you have 6 MP4 videos. You have 6 MP3 audios for easy listening in your car, right, or whatever. And then what I will usually I'll usually find somebody dirt cheap on the Warrior Forum, and I'll give them access to the video portion of the course. And I'll say, hey Susie, can you do me a favor? Watch this entire course, take some notes, and make me a quick start kind of cheat sheet PDF that kind of like a quick start guide, right? And then voila, I have videos, I have audios, and I have a quick start PDF. And you want to get a nice graphics shot for like $20-$30. You can get a gorgeous ebook and whatever cover graphics, right? But you have this big bundle, okay? And that works particularly well in the internet marketing world. It's one of the main reasons I always sold, on a bad day, my WSOs would sell 500 copies, for the most part. And as far as mapping out your product goes for the internet marketing stuff, there isn't an exact formula, but it's all about, are you delivering that unique value lever? Okay, are you giving the people 15 different underground buyer keyword finding methods? Are you giving them that breakthrough new way to get original content written for their Kindle publishing efforts? As long as you're delivering that value lever, you won. You've done what you had to do. So there isn't an exact formula on that. But the bundle thing of bulking up your product with the multiple modalities with a quick start cheat sheet PDF, maybe both, that's worth its weight in gold right there. Okay, guys? Okay, guys, getting your front-end product on upsell offer created. Again, info product cash machine, step number 5 now. Again, this is relatively straightforward. I pretty much told you already for the desperate market. I told you basically about buying your competitors' ebooks or whatnot, cherry picking the best of what they have to offer, then adding your own unique one additional element to it, and how that works hand in hand with the very blind copy sales letter, like the 3-step, 4-step, 5-step secret. Upsell offer, guys, real quick, what I'm going to say, I'm going to show you a quick example, but as far as the upsells go, for a desperate kind of a market, I recommend, honestly, just create a physical version of the downloadable product. People tend to buy that like crazy. I don't know why, but it almost always works. Of course, if you can get access to some kind of a supplement or some kind of a affiliate program that sells a supplement, especially good if you can get recurring payments on it, by all means, that's a great upsell right there, or that could be a second upsell, actually. Getting the front-end product created for the passion market. Again, let's use the glass blowing example. Already told you that. Simply take all their questions, flip them around, outsource it, and get the writer to make each one of those questions a chapter of the book. Okay? Doesn't need to be more than 20, 30, 40 pages. As long as you're very specifically addressing each one of the questions. Very simple there. Again, create a physical, take the audio version and make a physical CD. Create a physical product and maybe create a printed version of the book, right? Make that your upsell. Once again, this is kind of relatively straightforward. By the way, I'm not going to get into the internet marketing example. We already went through that pretty darn well, but all the same stuff applies. The one thing about the internet marketing and make money online examples, guys, is you really want to focus for your upsell. You really want it to be all about speed, either speed and automation, like helping them implement whatever you're teaching them quicker, easier, with less hassle. That's why I would a big angle I would always use was outsourcing. I would create a set of outsourcing videos so they can hand them to their outsourcers and have the method done for them. So it's either speed and automation, or it's something that will turbocharge the results that they're going to be able to get from just buying the initial product alone. Okay, keep that in mind. Speed or automation, the easy button, right? Or something that will turbocharge and enhance the results that the front end product alone will allow them to achieve. Okay. In any case, this is pretty straightforward, and as I just told you, the approach did differ depending on what niche you were going to enter and the way in, etc. I think I've beaten this stuff to the like a dead horse right now, guys, right? But it is extremely valuable. So again, I don't need to actually show you this, guys, because I've been talking about it this whole time, and I've actually kind of been showing this to you guys in earlier steps. I probably should have saved some of it for later, but I'm glad you guys were able to get a really good feel of that stuff, okay? So let's get right into Info Product Cash Machine step number 6, okay, guys? This is all about generate your fill-in-the-blanks killer sales letter or video sale. VSL stands for video sales letter, okay? Or video sales letter, an upsell page using the market data you gathered from step 3, unearthing your prospects' hot buttons, right? Along with my battle-tested, proven, pre-structured killer sales letter templates. Okay, guys? See, over the years when I've been working with different information marketing clients and aspiring info marketers, the biggest stumbling block and one of the hardest things for them to do is put together that killer sales letter that's going to sell their info product. So through the years, I started looking through all my sales letters, and I started noticing certain patterns evolved. And the long story short is I do have a set of killer sales letter templates and upsell page templates for all the different kind of niches that I've been talking about. Desperate problem niche, passion niche, which is actually even simpler. It's a lot simpler. And I guess the combination of the both, I call it my internet marketing make money online method kind of template. Okay, guys? And I can't give those to you in this webinar because literally, guys, I charge over $1,000 just for one or two of those templates. But what I do, and if you want to learn more about me and maybe get me on a conversation, email me or something, I might be able to give you some more insights on that. Okay? But if you study these letters that I've been showing you guys, you will actually see the patterns emerge. Okay? So I want to give you a general idea of the flow. Okay? Because if you understand the flow, you'll kind of understand the templates. And what it all comes down to is what I call shift points. When do you talk about this? When do you talk about that? What do you start out with? And then what do you write next, right? It's all about what's the general, when does the copy shift from one thing to another? From the headline to the opening paragraph, okay? To the what I call the Blackie story, that story of, rags to riches, to the final, when does the copy start to introduce the solution, okay? And then there's bullet points and whatnot, right? So real quickly, I'm going to give you the general, and by the way, guys, you can take this letter literally and you'll figure it out. I mean, you'll see the template in here. Okay, guys? The only thing that I do sometimes is sometimes I do the whole, it was so bad, and then I finally discovered this solution, and then here's the benefits, here's how my life changed for the better. That's one long thing, right? That kind of gets a full-blown, 6-7 page story by itself. But also it gets encapsulated very quickly sometimes. I'll loop through that in like 2 to 3 paragraphs, right? So like right here is a perfect example. I mean, that whole story of all the stuff I've gone through, how bad it was. Finally, I tried this, I tried that. Then I had this, ultimate downfall moment, my rock bottom moment. I was still miserable. Then I finally discovered this, and I researched it, and all of a sudden I realized the number one reason why nothing worked, and I discovered the ultimate secret. I put it to act, blah, 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 right? Benefit, benefit, benefit. My life is great now, right? That whole thing is kind of like a long story that gets written throughout this whole sales letter, but it also gets very quickly done. Quickly encapsulated, right? Like here it is. Dear friend, I know it may be hard to believe, but after suffering for years from a maddening ringing in my ears that was literally driving me insane, negative, 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 all the stuff I've tried, I finally discovered, I accidentally stumbled upon 3 simple little steps. There's the hook, right? That to my amazement, benefit, 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 brought peace, restfulness, and sanity to my life, okay? So right there, guys, that's like the quick encapsulation. Okay, so I kind of do both, and I just want to point that out because it'll make more sense. But then you know what? You could use it as a template and say, okay, here I'm going to quickly encapsulate the whole thing from beginning to end. Okay, and then I'm going to put, okay, and here's all the things that it wasn't this, it wasn't that, it wasn't that. That's template, right? Now here's the big, long, winded out story. Again, it's literally just a story. You can use it as a template. The ultimate sacrifice, this is my rock bottom moment. I actually got surgery, or my friend actually got surgery. Still didn't work. I went under the knife for, blah, 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 blah. And then, this is really just being as dramatic and emotional and as almost desperate. You could sense the desperation in this story, okay, guys? And then finally, there was a shocking question that changed my life forever. And then finally, all that stuff didn't work, but 3 simple natural steps you could take right now can solve your problem. You and I have been lied to. This works in almost so many different niches. It's always us against them. It's always the enemies. Who are those dirty bastards, for lack of better words, that aren't letting us in on the real secrets? They're keeping us suffering. They're keeping us broke, right? They're not really revealing the goods, right? That's just this is literally template. Total, like you could copy this almost verbatim, okay? And then finally, the introduction of the solution. What I'm saying is, I do have some killer templates that I do give people, but in all honesty, if you just read this letter a couple times, you'll notice it's the same 2 or 3 patterns repeating themselves. Okay, guys? So that's how it's done in the desperate market. Let's go real quick over to the glass blowing example. Give me a sec here. Okay, guys, here we are. Here's the passion market example. Again, it's a simple headline that basically telegraphs that big benefit that they want, however it plays out. Learn the craft of glass blowing quickly and easily. Start making spectacular glass creations in less than 2 days. Easy button, using the step-by-step glass blowing information. This is a very simple template. If you're interested in getting this benefit and this benefit and this benefit, then this is going to be the most important letter you ever read. Classic opening there, okay? Learned that from the great Gary Halbert, one of the best copywriters that ever lived. So if you want this benefit, this is going to be the most important letter you read this year, right? Here's why. And this is when I get into basically inflaming their passion, putting in their own words why they're so interested in this, why it's so amazing, why they're so excited about whatever this topic is, whether or not it's glass blowing or how to create those killer car graphics, right? The flames on motorcycles, the flames on cars, right? And make money doing it, right? So let me just, glass blowing is a wonderful craft. It enables you to unleash your full creativity, making beautiful and intricate custom glass creations. Your options are actually limitless. These people were very much about being creative and feeling that freedom to create beautiful pieces of art from glass, okay? That was one of the things. They also wanted, it's cool in certain circles. Glass blowing is a very cool kind of underground old world skill. And a lot of people feel, for lack of better words, they kind of feel badass by knowing how to do it. So that was another big motivation about this niche, going back to the whole unearthing, what's really driving them, right? Getting the market research data, right? And here we go. It doesn't matter what type of glass creation you want to be, you want to make custom-made glass beads, smoking pipes. I do know there's a subculture that definitely wants the pipes for a little recreation, if you know what I'm talking about, bowls or whatever. Anyways, so I quickly talk about what's driving their passion, what's so great about this, I paint that passion for them, right, in their own words, and then I quickly go to the problem. Look how short this letter is, though, guys. Easy peasy, okay? But I quickly get to the problem. So all that stuff is so good. Yeah, glass blowing is so awesome. It would be amazing to be able to do this and this, and if you could only do this, it would be incredible. However, getting this type of step-by-step nitty-gritty information is very difficult. Actually true. Very few books on the topic, okay? And the books that were out there didn't do a good job of really getting specific. And we actually put some pictures in my book that actually kind of demonstrated it, okay? So and so now we're starting to here's what I call basically you need this. Here's the problem. Here's what the solution would be. And then here's a little thing. Up until recently, this information wasn't available. And basically you realize there was a need for a huge authoritative resource, blah, blah, blah. So it's very template, guys. If you're interested in getting this benefit and this benefit and this benefit, you drop everything you're doing, you read this letter. Here's why. Then you inflame their passion by talking about why they already love it in their own words, basically, right? Then you present the problem. Getting this information has been very difficult. Here's what you really need that you don't have right now. And up until recently, it was impossible to get this kind of information. And then finally, I actually said here that several professional glassblowing experts were hired to create what would become the definitive guide, right? And that's people become experts when they outsource books, right? So in a way that is truthful. And that's pretty much all there is to it. That's how I introduced the product here. Several experts were hired, and here's a really cool part too, right? It's not like any other book you've ever read. Why? Because every question, every chapter, every piece of glassblowing information is there because you asked for it, right? Again, going back to the survey, that's one of the ways in, right? And here are the bullet points. I took the questions people asked, flipped them around into a bullet point. So somebody here might have said, I'm looking for information on the fundamentals of glassblowing. I want to learn the basic stuff. What are the core fundamentals that I need to know first, right? So I flip that around. And, the first chapter of the book is probably going to be, the complete information on the fundamentals of glassblowing, So you're giving people exactly what they want. And back to that market data sheet, guys, the ones that got the more tally marks that more people asked about, they're higher up in the bullet points, okay? And then, again, very template. This is a little paragraph that basically says, every detail, as you can see, has been covered. It's got everything you could possibly want. Nowhere else will you find such a easy to understand authoritative guide, blah, blah, blah. So that's very template. Particularly with this passion kind of market, it's very template here, guys. How much is it going to cost? I basically let them know that you're probably expecting it to be a lot, but because we deliver the book digitally as a download, we're able to save a ton on product fulfillment. So and we pass the savings on to you. That's a reason why the price is low. Okay, it actually does increase the value. And then I go, here's why it won't cost anything near what it's worth. That's actually part of the same section. I told them we're going to deliver it digitally. We save money, you save money, right? Money back guarantee, very, very template, okay, guys? And order link, okay? And I do a little PS down here usually. You won't find this kind of information anywhere else. If you want to shortcut your way, okay, guys, so you get it, right? Very template. Really, again, intro paragraph, passion talk, the problem, why you can't find this information. What you really need is, basically, I hired a bunch of experts to create the product, right? Or I interviewed a bunch of experts, introduced the product. Here's why it's not like any other book, because it's what you asked for. People asked for this, we gave it to them. Blah, blah, blah. Here's why it's not going to cost you anything near its worth. Guarantee, blah. Okay, guys? Very, very template there. That will work in any passion market. And I know people doing this I know people using this exact template in niches as crazy as scrapbooking, aquarium fish. A lot of people want to put up aquariums. Believe it or not, here's a really crazy example, and I actually know somebody who has a 6-figure business on this niche, making your own chicken coops. Can you guys believe that? There's parts of this country where literally people are obsessed with chicken coops. And it's it's a hobby of theirs. There might even be competitions about it, okay? Anyways, guys, so that is the template for a passion kind of niche or hobby area. And we'll take a look real quick here at the Kindle thing. I'm going too long here. Again, some similarities here. Headline talks about the main benefit they want. It's actually the unique value lever for this instance, right? If you'd like to start getting, benefit, and I actually said put it on steroids because part of my thing was about outsourcing it. That was another part of the value lever, was not only can they get dirt cheap content, but they're going to be able to outsource the method. Please listen close. That's the same thing as saying this will be the most important message you ever read, right? And then again, similar, right? Passion talk. I want to affirm, and I want them to remember why they got into this, why it's such an amazing opportunity, why this is the best thing since sliced bread, right? Because when it comes to incredible, effortless, hands-free income opportunity anyone can do, Amazon Kindle Publishing is still the gold rush opportunity of the decade. And then it's just some more passion talk. So you look at this. Imagine this. It's 10 a.m. You just awoken from a beautiful sleep, slip on your bathrobe, still in the dreamlike state of bliss. You walk a few steps to your computer, and a smile comes over your face because you know with 20-30 minutes of work and a few clicks of the mouse, you're going to be adding another 5 white-hot Kindle books to your portfolio, 5 books that will add another $50 to $100 in automatic passive income. That's the dream, guys, right? That's why they got into this in the first place. And then some more passion talk. And that's really all this is. I'm just restating why Kindle Publishing is so amazing. Pocket of full-time income, minutes per day. But now we get to the problem. So starting to see the template emerge, guys. But if you're even thinking about using PLR, duplicate content, forget about it. I talk about how Amazon's going to ban you now. Thousands of publishers are banned. Okay, so that's the problem now. So, and I spell out the problem even more. So now, what's your solution is that if you're like most people, you're going to have to spend weeks busting your butt just to get one book up. Okay, one little book. Or you're going to have to shell out, hundreds of dollars now to get a Kindle book made by an American or somebody, if you do it the normal way, right? But what if there was a way? Now we're getting into the solution, right? What if there was a way to provide dirt cheap Filipino content writers? Blah, blah, blah. We already went through this, right? Finally, this is the solution now. And etc. Introduce the product, bullet points. Bullet points are status quo, right, guys? You always need those sizzling bullets, right? Okay? And then this is just the product. This is like, I'm talking about the different components of the product, okay? So again, guys, if you look at this, you'll see that the template is very similar to the passion niche template. Okay, guys? And I think you guys get the point by now on that. All right, guys, so back to the PowerPoint here. This step 6 is all about generating your fill-in-the-blanks killer sales letter or video sales letter, an upsell page using the market research data you gathered in step 3, okay? With pre-structured killer sales letter templates that I guess I just went over in broad strokes. Now, here's the thing, guys. Why this is so powerful is using one of 3 proven templates that I'm about to show you how to get, along with the market research data you gathered in step 2, you're going to be able to literally fill in the blanks while adding just maybe a few words here or there, a transition here or there, and effortlessly end up with a killer sales letter or video sales letter guaranteed to sell your product like crazy. The core concept here is that the skeleton of a highly proven sales letter can easily be adapted to sell in nearly any niche. As long as the flow and the shift points of a proven sales letter remain the same, you can simply change the content so it matches the situations and the experiences of your specific target niche market, and the sales letter or video should still sell extremely well. Another underlying principle here, guys, is modeling / swiping or copying is really a copywriter's best friend. That's why they call it copywriting. Now, this obviously is a bit of an intangible concept to get your head around, and that's why I just actually already showed you the demonstration a little bit ago. Okay, guys? Now, I want to do a quick note about the upsell offer, because I didn't really talk about it too much yet, and this is about writing copy for the upsell, right? I always advise my clients to have at least one one-click upsell offer. That means that after they buy the first product, they can simply click the add to cart button on the next page instead of having to re-enter their credit card information, right? But I always advise that my clients have at least one upsell offer that is presented to new customers immediately after the initial purchase. It's all about maximizing the initial transaction value, okay, guys? Now, since the customer is already in buying mode, your upsell offer need only be positioned as something complementary that is around 1/3 to 2/3 the price of the initial offer. And this is a very powerful little percentage here. Because think about it, when you go into a store to buy a suit, or if you're a woman, an expensive dress, um, you know, do they get you to buy the cheapest thing first? No. They usually get you to buy the suit first, and what do they offer you after the suit? Or would you also like to buy this tie? Because after you've already spent $500 or whatever on a suit, you know, a complimentary tie that's maybe only $50 seems like pennies, right? It seems like pennies, right? And that's the same kind of mentality you want to do with the upsell process, okay, guys? Along with that whole excuse me, here it is here. The best, highest converting upsell offers promise both speed and automation, or a turbocharging of the results they can expect from the front end product alone. Okay? I will say that in the desperate market example, literally you could just create a physical version for whatever reason that just converts really well for that product. But hey, a lot of people would rather listen to an audio CD, right, or read a printed book in the real world as opposed to looking at their computer screen, and in a way that is kind of speed. That is like the easy button for them. So, quick example, guys. I want to just show you an example of a killer upsell page real quick here. Okay, guys, I want to show you real quick a killer example of a killer upsell, okay? And normally there'd be a video up here, guys, and I'd literally just be speaking the text on this page, okay? It's literally the same thing, but it is proven that, especially in the internet marketing make money world, if you want to get into that, that a video will increase upsell take rate. I believe in any kind of market it will, actually, because it adds the personal touch that you're a real person, right? But anyways, this is for a product, this is an upsell for a product called Free Buying Traffic on Steroids. This was about people utilizing 3 or 4 different free traffic methods that actually get buying traffic. So the people were actually typing in product names, so like they're already in the buying stage. And it was also about a set of outsourcing videos, so you could take this method of getting free buying traffic from multiple sources and have outsourcers do it for you, so the whole thing was hands-free. There was like zero work, okay? That was the big angle of the product. And back to the whole, either speed or automation, or speed or automation, or turbocharging the results. Remember, that's the golden formula for many upsells. The first thing I want to talk about is this is a bundle. I found that in the internet marketing world, at least in the make money world, if you can stack the value, you always want to try to stack the value, right? So I actually created, three different platinum upgrade items for this upsell, right? And real quick, first one was my free buying traffic on steroids outsourcer hiring secrets video, right? Again, the core WSO, the core method, the core product was about these free buying traffic on steroids methods and basically using outsourcers to do it. But what I didn't include was a video specifically on how to hire these people in the most effective manner. So that was obviously a very relevant speed and automation upsell component. I always put a value under each thing. So that's the first thing. And again here, guys, this is just copy that I elaborate on what's involved. And I talk about the benefits, but there's the problem in this case, because you need to hire the right kind of outsourcer, and if you do, you can expect this. If you don't, here's the problems you're going to run into, right? It's always it's always about the dream and the benefits, and then it's about, but there's a problem. Here's what the problem is, blah, blah, blah. But this solves the problem because, right? Anyways, platinum item number 2, my white hot income tripling fill in the blanks affiliate pre-sell template. Now, a big part of this free buying traffic on steroids strategy was, at the time, it was putting up pre-sell blogs that basically do similar to what we talked about. You let the person know that you've been in their shoes, you've gone through what they've gone through, etc. And it's simply you pre-sell them because you act like you've been through what they've been through, and then you found the solution, which is the affiliate product, right? Well, I actually created a template over the years, as you could probably imagine, that really converted a large percent of the people, or it really got a lot of the people that landed on my affiliate pre-sell page to click through to the affiliate offer and actually buy, because it did a really good job pre-selling, and yes, it was a template. So that was a second item. Again, that's going to turbocharge the results, right? And platinum item number 3 was 15 super secret money gushing affiliate offer finding methods. Okay, I actually took my entire buyer keyword ecstasy WSO or product, and I made it a upgrade, a component of the upsell, right? 'Cause the thing with me, guys, is I'm all about creating upsells that convert. If I have an upsell offer and it's not converting at least 30%, 35% from the people that buy the first product to the second, the upsell, I'm not happy. So this is a very powerful formula, particularly in the make money online internet marketing world. Then I recap exactly what they're going to get quickly with a picture to the right, and then there's the order button, right? So that's an example of a killer upsell. I didn't want to go into it too far here because, again, this is just the webinar workshop. And of course, if you want to really get nitty gritty with this, we could talk about that later. Real quick, the upsells, and I've talked about this before, but the upsells for the desperate market and the passion niche, really, for the desperate market, I found just a physical copy of the audio download or the video download or whatnot works really, really well. For the passion market, what I'll usually do for the passion market is I'll take a couple of components out of the front end products, and I'll just compartmentalize it as its own separate product, right? But basically, anything, again, it's just using your brain. What's going to either create speed and automation, make it a lot easier for them to get these results, or turbocharge their results, right? I just particularly for internet marketing, I like to create a bundle because it's a lot of competition in this area and everybody's always over delivering, right? So there you have it, guys. That is a quick look at the upsell offer, and I want to flat out tell you, congratulations. If you made it to this stage of the info product cash machine process, if you were to have actually implemented these steps, you've now created a money-getting, customer-attracting machine. At this point, the only thing that would be standing between you and a solid $8,000 per month passive info product income stream is a solid stream of consistent, targeted traffic. Which brings us to info product cash machine step number 7. Unleashing a massive stream of perpetual, never-ending, targeted traffic. Now, getting into a full conversation on traffic is well beyond the scope of this webinar presentation. However, what I can tell you is that my full-blown info product cash machine business system makes use of 5 distinct, extremely powerful traffic sources that consistently generate thousands of targeted clicks per day to any new info product business that I choose to set up. They are as follows. 1. Bing and Google pay-per-click. This is great for immediate results and testing new offers. And when I first launched a venture and I got that front-end product up with a killer sales letter or a sales video, usually Bing is the first place I go. Okay? Bing is still very friendly, and Google works too, but oftentimes you want to wait till your business is a little more mature and you have more of a back-end / email list in place. But Bing, for sure, pay-per-click. Dirt cheap traffic, immediate profits. 2, niche-specific YouTube channel. This is one of the biggest breakthroughs in the info marketing realm, guys, because never before has it been very easy and quick to literally go from 0 to over 500 unique targeted visitors per day to basically any website you want. And not only that, but you can do that while positioning yourself as an expert in the process and while bonding with your target customers and making them really get a feel for you and see that you're a real person, which if you follow sales at all, it's all about people knowing, liking, and trusting you, okay? That increases sales tremendously. But creating a YouTube channel, even if you're not even passionate about the niche, guys, even if it's a little bit of a boring thing for you to do, just every day or every couple days, pick, target a keyword, research a couple bullet point nuggets on it and just talk out. Even you don't even have to put your face on it. Talk out like 3-4 minutes of content on that topic, and of course put a call to action at the end of each video so people will watch the video and then click to your website, okay? In the description, that's where you do that. Again, not going to get deep into this now, but YouTube is probably top 2 traffic methods for me at this point, and it's free traffic, guys, and it's very easy to go from 0 to several hundred clicks a day, okay? A very powerful strategy. Number 3, ClickBank affiliates. This is like a no-brainer, solid extra traffic and customer source. If you implement the above two things, guys, Bing pay-per-click or Google pay-per-click down the road, a YouTube channel, I can't imagine that you don't get to 3, 4, 5 minimum sales per day on the low end. Okay, most of my niches, I'm hitting 15 to 30 sales a day once I implement the above two strategies. Because again, I'm easily over 1,000 clicks a day within about 2 months with these strategies. Excuse me, but if you put your product on ClickBank, which is what I recommend to newcomers at least, not only do you get to take advantage of their one-click built-in upsell method, like for one-click upsells, which drastically increase the conversion of upsells, but affiliates will start to take notice, and I actually have a special technique that I call my ClickBank affiliate explosion, that as long as you're getting consistent traffic to your site and making consistent sales, it will actually skyrocket your listing in the ClickBank marketplace very high, which forces thousands of affiliates to take notice of it and therefore start sending you traffic. It's actually a strategy by itself that's worth a couple $1,000s. And again, if you want to get serious and you want to end up working with me, we can talk about that. Okay, guys? I also don't mind answering my email, so at the end of this presentation, or at least below the video, you'll figure out a way to email me, okay? But anyways, ClickBank affiliates, another solid source of free traffic and sales. Several of my ventures are getting over 20 sales a day just from affiliates, okay? And that's an awesome customer list you're building, by the way. Okay, 4, authority video blog. This is tied in closely with your YouTube channel. But you know what, guys? Every time, and these are both SEO kind of methods, right? But Google loves video now. And every time you produce a video on your YouTube channel, you simply take that video, you embed it in your blog, and guess what? Sooner or later, not only will your video start ranking in YouTube and Google, because it actually ranks in both, but you're at your authority blog, which doesn't have to be just videos. It should be a mix of videos from YouTube and textual content, right? And even some whatever modality you want, right? But your authority blog will also start to rank. It'll become a solid traffic source, maybe not as powerful as the YouTube channel, but it'll definitely be a close second. And it's all about stacking these things up, And finally, guys, this strategy isn't for everybody because it doesn't apply to every niche. But if it does work for your niche, you'd be crazy not to do it because it's just free money. That's not free money, but it's very risk-free. And this is cheap, ultra-targeted, one-off banner ad buys on high-ranking websites that are very targeted to your niche. This is simply scrolling through the top 2 to 3 pages of Google, really the top 1 to 2 pages, and finding sites that are already ranking for your chosen keywords, right? They have to be very targeted, and simply saying, and you do a test. You basically the most you really want to pay is basically the amount that one sale would bring you in. Okay, so worst case, you make one sale off one of these sites, and of course you want to track it using tracking software. You make one sale, you pay for the ad. Okay, but you'll find that many of these sites will bring you at least 4, 5 to 10 sales a month. So it's a solid extra customer and traffic source. Here's where things get exciting, guys. Implementing even just 2 of the traffic strategies revealed on the last slide can easily generate over 500 targeted clicks per day to your info product front-end sales page, which would propelling your info product cash machine sales to over $8,000 per month. No doubt about it. Guys, if you're getting several hundred free clicks a day from YouTube, I mean, let's say horrible 1% conversion rate, let's say you're only getting 300 clicks a day, that's 3 sales, at $37, that's 30, 60, 90, it's over $100 a day, okay, guys, just on the front end. Now, the upsells, $100 a day is $3,000 a month, right? The upsell is going to add at least another $1,500 to $2,000. Now you're at $5,000, but that doesn't take into account any email follow-up, guys, because in a little bit, I'm going to tell you, you better be building a list, and you better be following up with your unconverting leads, and a well-orchestrated follow-up campaign will easily double your sales. It'll easily double your front-end sales over the first 7 days to 2 weeks, okay? So, again, just 2 of these traffic sources can easily propel your info product cash machine sales to $8,000 plus per month, and I'm talking profit here. And that's all good and dandy. In fact, that's fantastic for most people, wink. But the clients of mine that transform their job replacing info product oil wells into awe-inspiring, high six-figure, wealth-inducing businesses take things a little more serious. And that's when I let them in on. Number one, strategic list building and email follow-up methods that triple sales while generating you an email list asset of raving fans. Okay, guys, you probably heard it before. The money's in the list, and you'd be a fool to not first capture at least a minimum the email addresses of the people coming into your sales funnel. Okay, guys? In the end of the day, you could have a business, and you shouldn't have to deal with this if you follow my traffic strategies. But in the end of the day, there are lots of people that are willing to break even, not only on the front end sale, but the upsell and maybe even a second upsell. They're willing to break for that all to break them even if it lets them build a list of customers and leads, because they know that once they got 500, 1,000 plus customers, all it takes is one strategic campaign to make $10, $20, $30,000. Okay, not to mention continuity income. But that's when I let them in on strategic list building, email follow-up methods that triple sales while generating you an email list asset of raving fans, which put you in the position to make thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars on command with the push of a button. Remember, the real money is in the list. And two, strategic sequenced back-end product campaigns to your existing list of customers and leads that generate massive paydays and decadent recurring continuity income streams for the rest of your life. I just talked about this before, but guys, it really comes down to two things: killer email follow-up to maximize front-end customers, okay, guys, and then it comes down to how do you communicate with your list, your buyers list and your leads list in a way, and part of this has to do with your authority blog and your YouTube channel, okay? How do you communicate with them in a way so you get the whole know you, like you, trust you effect? They look at you as a go-to person for whatever topic it is, and you cultivate fans, okay, raving fans. You know, once you do that, you just do a little brainstorm. How can I provide some value? What can I create as an info product? Or if you don't want to do it, what affiliate offer can I partner with and recommend to my list, guys? Literally, guys, it's not uncommon for me these days to orchestrate a 2 to 3 part email campaign and walk away with 20, 30, 40 grand. I mean, it happens, and that's what a list of buyers who love you will do for you. Okay, guys? So that's the stuff that gets me most excited, because that's when this business really gets fun and you really start cashing out in a massive way. Now for the big news. For the first time ever, guys, I've decided to provide a hand-holding, success-forcing coaching to a select few ultra-serious action takers on my entire info product cash machine business building process. Now, inside this elite program, I'll be working with you extremely closely, making sure that you flawlessly apply each step of my info product cash machine process, ensuring that you walk away with a life-changing, highly automated, $8,000 plus per month info product cash machine business in just a few short months. And the golden ability to repeat this process in as many niches as you want for the rest of your life, taking your income to truly astronomical levels. So you can finally stop chasing bright, shiny objects, falling for the latest guru launch, right? And build a real, lasting six-figure business asset online with a process that I've repeated in over 12 unique niche markets, guys. I got this down to a science. It's a formula. You've seen several of them tonight, okay, guys? It's an absolutely beautiful scientific process, and it works every time. You know, these were niches I knew nothing about, and I had zero proof or credibility within before getting into them. Now, if you qualify and are accepted into this one-of-a-kind program, not only will I hold your hand through the entire 9 steps of my six-figure info product cash machine business building process, but everything you do, every info business building step of the process you take will be passed through my filter first before I let you move on to the next step. This means I won't let you make a mistake, and that your success is virtually guaranteed. So without further delay, guys, I am extremely excited to introduce my ultimate elite info product cash machine 6-figure business mentoring program. Now, if you apply and are accepted, and guys, we're not going to accept everybody here. This is a very exclusive program. I've never come across something like this in my life, to be honest. I'm a guy who's literally been there and done that in info marketing, and to work with somebody who's had the in the trenches ability, who's entered over a dozen different markets, created multiple 6-figure businesses from scratch, in many cases without any existing credibility or proof in the markets. This isn't for everybody. It's not cheap, but in any case, if you apply and are accepted, I will work with you hand in hand as together we hone in on a cash-laden info niche that meets the info product cash machine criteria. We're going to brainstorm your strategic way in and sales exploding hook. Guys, if you know anything about me, I'm not about just throwing crap against the wall. I'm all about strategy. I don't want to just enter a market with some offer, with some sales letter, I want to enter a market with an explosion, with a unique hook that immediately positions you as a guy or gal who's got something special to offer. Okay, guys? So we're going to brainstorm your strategic way in and sales exploding hook. I might say, you know what? Out of these 3 markets you looked at, I think this is the best one because of this. I think you should go for the desperate market in this case because of this. Or you know what? I think this passion market is better lined up to you because of X, Y, Z. I'm not going to just let you do things that aren't going to work. Okay? That's one of the biggest benefits to working with me. Then we're going to unearth your prospects' hot buttons and get inside their heads. That critical market research stage, going into the forums, finding the pain points, finding the problems, finding out what the status quo is, what's that life experience like with your prospects, okay, guys? Gathering that critical sales ammunition for your sales letter later. 4, we're going to map out your front-end product and your upsell offer, guys, in a way that makes it extremely desirous to your target market. And particularly in a way that gives it a hook, so it's guaranteed to set the market on fire as soon as they read that headline and take a look at your product shot, okay, guys? It's guaranteed to set the market on fire. 5, we're going to get your built to sell like crazy products, your front end and your upsell, created in a flash almost effortlessly. I don't care what kind of niche you're going for, desperate market, passion market, hobby market, make money internet marketing market. There is a way to get these things made effortlessly, almost effortlessly, guys. It all comes down to being organized and knowing what you're doing. So we're going to get those products made in a flash for you. Step number 6 is we're going to string together your fill-in-the-blanks killer sales letter or video sales letter, which route you want to go, and your maximum converting upsell page. And this is when your money-making info business machine, guys, is really, that's when the rubber really hits the road. Finally, number 7, we're going to unleash insane, perpetual, never-ending targeted traffic using cheap pay-per-click, free YouTube marketing, ClickBank affiliates, authority SEO blogging, and more. And this is what you're going to start creating, and you're going to start to see that job-replacing, life-changing income stream for yourself. And it's an absolutely beautiful thing to experience, let me tell you. Then we're going to put things into high gear as I show you how to transform the job-replacing info product oil well you've just created into an awe-inspiring, high 6-figure, wealth-inducing business asset. This is when it's all about going from, a little one-off little business where you're kind of just selling some stuff every day and building a massive email list and a massive buyers list, and then doing things so you cultivate raving fans and you put yourself in the income at will position. You want to make 20, 30, 40 grand, you create a product, you put a campaign together, you blast it out to your list. Okay, or you find an affiliate product, etc. You want to create 20 grand a month recurring income. You locate a recurring income supplement or something. Maybe you got to talk to the guy to get a little deal because you're going to be bringing him a lot of business. You make sure you get a recurring income cut, a little email campaign to your list. Boom, 20, 30 grand a month. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Okay, guys. So that's when things are going to get into high gear as I arm you with my awe-inspiring high 6-figure as I show you how to transform it into an awe-inspiring, high six-figure, wealth-inducing business asset. Okay, guys? And again, that's going to be done as I arm you with the ultimate seven-figure info business skills of, again, strategic list building and email follow-up methods that triple sales while generating you an email list asset of raving fans, put you in the position of thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on command, putting together a simple little email campaign, push and send, and strategic sequence back-end product campaigns. This is more about, how to think as far as the back-end goes, how to find value that you haven't already given to your clients. Okay, guys? Now, in just a moment, a link will appear at the bottom of this presentation, and you're going to have the ultra-rare opportunity to apply to be one of my latest clients inside my Ultimate Elite Info Product Cash Machine six-figure business mentoring program. Again, if you qualify and are accepted into this one-of-a-kind program, not only will I hold your hand through the entire 9 steps of my six-figure Info Product Cash Machine business building process, but everything you do, every info business building step of the process that I take and I show you how to take, and we do it together, will be passed through my filter first before I let you move on to the next step, ensuring you execute every step perfectly, exactly as I would if I was building my own business, so that your success is virtually guaranteed. Now, if you apply again and are accepted, I will work with you hand in hand as together we hone in on a cash-laden info niche, brainstorm your strategic way in and sales exploding hook, unearth your prospects' hot buttons, get inside their heads, map out your front-end product and your upsell offer, get your built-to-sell like crazy products created in a flash, almost effortlessly, string together your fill-in-the-blank sales letter or video sales letter and maximum converting upsell page, and unleash insane, perpetual, never-ending targeted traffic using cheap pay-per-click, free YouTube marketing, ClickBank affiliates, authority SEO blogging, and more. Then we're going to put things into high gear. And by then, guys, this is a couple months into the process, you should easily be making job replacing income. But we're not going to stop there, because I'm all about creating masters of trades, okay? I want to turn you into a master info marketer, okay, guys? Then we're going to put things into high gear as I'll show you how to transform the job-replacing info product oil well that you already have into an awe-inspiring, high six-figure, wealth-inducing business asset, okay? Money on command with the email list that buys everything you put out there that loves you, okay, guys? Already went through that. So, that being said, warning, this isn't going to be cheap. I mean, obviously, guys, there's going to be a lot of my time involved in this. I've spent well over $100,000 learning the skill set, applying it through trial and error, coming up with these proven formulas for success that never fail, along with literally copywriting killer sales templates. I mean, this is the closest thing, guys, to a magic button, as long as you're willing to do some work. Okay, guys, and creating a six-figure information product business that's really ever existed. I don't know of anything else like this. Okay, guys. So, warning: it's not going to be cheap, but you know what? You get what you pay for. And if you're tired of fumbling around, chasing one magic pull here, another Google exploit traffic over here, another like stupid little money-making tactic that might work today but doesn't work tomorrow there. And if you're ready to build a real six-figure information product business with a massive ever-growing email customer list that will become a six-figure on-command asset for you, okay, guys, then this is for you. That being said, I'm now looking for just five, super motivated people that want to work with me personally as I hold your hand through my entire 9-step info product cash machine process to set up your very own $8,000 plus per month info product cash machine business over the next 60 to 90 days. So, if this is you and you're dead serious on finally building a real online info product business, and you want a super successful serial info marketer, business builder to hold your hand through the entire process, from niche market selection to strategizing your market entrance strategy to creating your products so that they are built to sell like crazy right out of the gate and getting your killer sales copy done lickety-split, to generating massive targeted traffic and building an income on command email list of loyal customers and subscribers who will send you massive waves of cash whenever you press send and everything in between. Then click the link below this video and fill out the short survey on the next page to apply to be one of my latest info product cash machine proteges. And if you look like the kind of action taker that I'm looking for, you'll be getting a call from me within 48 hours of submitting your application, where we can go over the full details of the program to make sure that it's a good fit for you. Now guys, hundreds of people are going to be applying for this unparalleled success-forcing info business success program. So it's important that you let me know why I should work with you. Why should I choose you over the hundreds of applications that are going to be coming in over the next coming weeks? Remember, if you qualify and are accepted into this one-of-a-kind program, not only will I hold your hand through the entire 9 steps of my 6-figure info product cash machine business building process, but everything you do, every info business building step of the formula that I teach you, that I have you do, is going to be passed through my filter first before I let you move on to the next step, ensuring that you execute every step perfectly, exactly as I would if it was my own business that I was building, so that your success is virtually guaranteed. So again, guys, if you're sick and tired of sitting on the sidelines of the internet marketing world, and you're finally ready to start getting serious and start bringing in more money quicker and easier than you ever imagined in your own dream lifestyle 6-figure info product business, not to mention the golden ability to repeat this process in as many niches as you want for the rest of your life, taking your income to truly astronomical levels, then I want to work with you. Simply click the link below this video, fill out the short survey on the next page, and apply to be one of my latest info product cash machine proteges. If you qualify and show me that you're serious, you can expect a call within 48 hours of submitting your application. Well, that's it for now, guys. Corey Freeman here signing off, and regardless if you decided to move forward with me or not, I want to thank you and congratulate you on making it to the end of this presentation. You now know more about how to strategically enter the info marketing world than 99.9% of your peers, and I hope you've gained a ton of valuable insights and ahas from the eye-opening case studies and info marketing pearls of wisdom that have been presented. Again, if this is for you and you want to work with me hand in hand as I virtually guarantee your astounding info marketing success, making sure you execute my 9-step info product cash machine business building process with flawless precision, unleashing your very own 6-figure info business in the next 60 to 90 days, go ahead and click the link below this video to apply to be my latest info product cash machine protege. And that's it for now, guys. I wish you the best of success, and I hope to see you on the other side. Take care.